the show for you guys today. Trudeau thinks he's so fucking smart. So a lot happened today. We're gonna try to get right into it here. I have video, and then I have, I think, a couple articles for you. So let's do it. We may have people joining us in a little while, but for now we are solo. Let's go with this. Okay. I was a little distracted for the show, so I didn't get much time for setup. But I do have the important thing of the day here. Okay, yep. Okay, let me pull that up real quick. It is the Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, talking out his ass.
Between Windsor and just a peace.
And Ministers Levetti.
All right, here we go. I'm gonna have to stop it to put commentary in and stuff, but yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am accompanied today by
here's a
Deputy Prime
frog
Minister
man.
Freeland and Ministers
Welcome to the show.
Levetti, Mendocino, and Blair. I'm here to give you an update on the illegal blockade.
Yep.
I suppose.
And tell you about our efforts to support Ukraine.
What's going on?
Potential Russian invasion. But let's begin with the situation here in Canada, of course.
So we got the Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, here talking out his ass, as I had just mentioned before you came in, actually. He's talking about a certain act that's going to be implemented, and we're just going to take a listen to that, and then we're going to take a look at what the act is and what that's going to mean, possibly.
Legal blockades that have been disrupting the lives of too many Canadians. Here in our capital city, families and small businesses have been enduring illegal obstruction of their neighborhoods, occupying streets, harassing people, breaking the law. This is not.
Okay. Who are they harassing? Are they just honking their horns? Is that it? Is that what harassment equates to these days?
Yes, because it's distracting to the thought process that's needed to buy anything other than male or female.
So why isn't burning down buildings considered harassment? Very curious.
Because it's dependent on what side is actually forcing at the moment. Because it's always going to be a push and pull. And so it's going to be one side telling the other that they're fascists, and the other one is going to say, no, you're the fascist. They say, no, wait a minute, I said it first. And you say, well, actually, we said it first, but you decided to change it to make it sound like you weren't one of those. And it's ridiculous. The world is actually going to. I've been paying attention to some of this news today. I haven't watched this because I wanted to watch this, so I've been
then you're
kind of waiting for this guy to actually see what he had to actually say.
Yeah, it's actually fairly quiet.
Can you turn the volume? Is it the high?
No, I was just gonna say it's actually fairly quiet on the CPAC side. Like, you go to another video and it'll be really loud, but I have everything boosted as far as I can, so this is just gonna have to listen close here, or turn up your volume maybe.
Yeah, no, that's why we're asking questions. Go. Make sure that it's not me, because I'm.
Okay, I got you. Yep.
Borders in different parts of the country. The blockades are harming our economy and endangering public safety. Critical supply chains have been disrupted. This is hurting workers who rely on these jobs to feed their families. Yesterday, the Ambassador Bridge was reopened between Windsor and Detroit. Our team and I have been working with Ontario.
Did I cover that with you yesterday, the Ambassador Bridge?
We can a little bit, or the day before, because yesterday I worked. Yeah, we
Okay.
we touched on it a little bit, but we didn't really like pinpoint the bridge or whatever. We pinpointed that there was about 3 or 4 locations um, between the United States and Canada border that had actually been blocked off by quote unquote honker truckers. They're just trying to have their voice be heard. And now he's going to do this jackass stuff, whatever he's pushing, so that way he can actually just go in and he can go and arrest anybody he wants for any reason whatsoever, and then they can be held for an indefinite amount of time. It's a little
And that's kind of what's happening over in Australia, right? Like they just start holding.
Sounds a little bit like tyranny, and these guys have been part of NATO since 1943. When NATO was first created, and it's kind of ridiculous when you hear about the relationship, status with such a country that's deciding to actually, go and push martial law on their people.
Yeah, like there's some war going on in the streets.
Right.
Let's continue.
And the city of Windsor around the clock. I want to thank the officers on the ground, including the RCMP, who played an active role. We now have a responsibility to make sure that the bridge stays open. With each illegal blockade.
See, the problem with that is that now there's people blocking it on the American side, and what the hell is he going to do about that? That's why this video is entitled "The Prime Minister Thinks He's So Smart." Listen, man.
He's just like any other leftist politician. He's gonna speak in hypocrisy because that's all they know how to do.
Oh, well, it's doublespeak, right? Like he'll lie.
However you want to make up the phrase or whatever.
Try to make it make sense.
The hypocrisy of the left is beyond limits right now.
Rules for thee, but not for me.
As asinine as he can possibly get.
Yep.
Local law enforcement agencies have been acting to keep the peace within their jurisdiction. Despite their best efforts, it is now clear that there are serious challenges to law enforcement's ability to effectively enforce the law. On Friday,
what law has been broken?
Invoked a state of emergency to respond to the blockades. This was the responsible and necessary thing to do.
No, this wasn't responsible at all. You're just creating more division. And necessary? Absolutely not. There were other actions that you could have gone through, other roads you could have gone down.
Multiple different avenues or roads or whatever you want to call them, of ways that you can go to,
He betrays his people and tells them that they're thinking wrong.
Like any other leftist politician. We just went through this. Leftist politicians are one of the worst. They just shouldn't be. They should never actually be anything.
So he declared, I think, 2 or 3 states of emergencies while this was going on before this here.
Today, to continue building on these efforts, the federal government is ready to use more tools at its disposal to get the situation fully under control. After discussing with Cabinet and caucus, after consultation with premiers from all provinces and territories, after speaking with opposition leaders, the federal government has invoked the Emergencies Act to supplement provincial and territorial capacity to address the blockades and occupations.
Now, make no mistake, this is a wartime act, and we're going to transition here just to
To
cover a
address the
little bit
blockades.
of what this
So it's
act
only
is.
to address the blockades. But did you pull up the what this is actually going to do?
Yeah, well, I have exactly what it is and what it's historically been. I have it on Wikipedia, so you're going to have to take it with a grain of salt, as Wikipedia is subject to change.
It's that's at the hands of you and me as well. You know, I mean, we could go and we could change it to make it, say what we want it to say. But obviously, we're not like that. We want you to know the truth. We're not like these people. So we're just gonna read what they have supposedly say about it.
So it's the War Measures Act. Les offenses. No, I'm not going to try to.
All in France. In French.
Was a statute of Parliament of the Parliament of Canada that provided for the declaration of war, invasion, or insurrection, and the types of emergency measures that they could thereby be taken. The act was brought into force 3 times in Canadian history during the First World War, Second World War, and 1970 October Crisis. And let's see, the 2022 Freedom Convoy. So this has been updated recently because that just happened today. That's exactly what we're watching. Not even 3 hours ago, I'd say it happened. The act was questioned for its suspension of civil liberties.
Go figure. Civil liberties.
Yep.
So
even on the wiki,
your own rights.
Even on the wiki, straight at the top of the page, it says the act was questioned for its suspension of civil liberties and personal freedoms, including only for Ukrainians and other Europeans during Canada's first national internment operations of 1914 to 1920, the Second World War's Japanese-Canadian internment, and in the October Crisis. So this is all internment stuff. Like, each time it's been implemented, it's been internment and taking away people's civil liberties and freedoms. So you can already tell it's not going to be good. Like, this is dangerous shit. This is we've got you by the balls shit right here.
Right. This is a thing to be messing around with. Don't even be like the one guy that was, cruising down the road and decided to blow his horn at something, and he gets, cuffed and arrested and whatever else because he simply blew his horn on his, on his own private vehicle. It's like, well, why can't? If you keep on bowing down to the tuning, I mean, obviously that's where we're all gonna sink.
So you can bet that this hasn't been changed much over the years because that's kind of how it works.
Right.
So let's go under.
There's some funny laws out there for almost everywhere. I bet you could find some really odd, strange things that that you shouldn't do or whatever. You'd be surprised what you come across.
Yeah, there's some funny laws out there. Like, you can't park your giraffe next to a street light in Chicago.
Right.
It's illegal. Anyway, so let's look under this here, the extent of authority under the act here, because it probably hasn't even changed much since 1914. The act conferred.
Which, when you think about it, 1914 till now, how long is that? That isn't very long, is it? 108 years, whatever. When you think about it,
I'm not good with math. See, I'd embarrass myself if I threw out a number.
Oh. No, I gave you the number. So, I mean, when it comes down to it, you think about it, you're just like, yeah, it is what it is. You really have to think about these old laws can always be pushed and pulled, and they can do what they want.
They can be modified. Yep. All right. So the extent of authority under the Act. It says the Act conferred broad authority and was even held by the Supreme Court of Canada in uh, uh, what is that? In regret to include the power to amend other acts by way of regulation. So not only does this act affect it like everything that it surrounds, but it affects other acts. So this act is so toxic that it infects other ones.
It's ridiculous.
I messed up. Let me go back up to that. Here we go.
Every country is dealing with this kind of stuff right now. Some kind of tyranny.
That's nothing that the British House of Lords in R.B. Halliday had held in 1917 that the Defence of the Realm Act of 1914 possessed similar wide powers with respect to the United Kingdom. Chief Justice of Canada Sir Charles Fitzpatrick declared, "It seems to me obvious that Parliament indeed, as the language used implies, to clothe the executive with the widest powers in time of danger. Taken literally, the language of the section contains unlimited powers. Parliament expressly enact that when need arises. The executive may, for the common defense, make such orders and regulations as they may deem necessary or advisable for the security, peace, order, and welfare of Canada." Let me make this a little bit bigger. It's less hard on my eyes. Security, welfare of Canada. Okay. The Enlightenment who framed that section and the members of Parliament who adopted it were providing for a great emergency, and they must be understood to have employed words in their natural sense and to have intended what they have said. So he's basically saying, like they didn't write these words in this war act for no reason. Like they were very specific with what they're saying. There's no doubt, in my opinion, that the regulation in question was passed to provide the security and welfare of Canada, and therefore intraverse the statute under which it purports to be made. So I think he's kind of a simp for the statute, but earlier he was saying exactly what it actually is that it's straight up a control act, essentially. It's like, oh, times are getting bad, we own you. So that's the act that he is putting into place. This little boy.
And yeah, I mean, there's nothing you're going to be able to do to actually stop him from doing what he's doing either. He's going to continue to wield his control and power as long as he possibly can until somebody finally puts a stop to it.
All for honking.
Right, just because they're honking or whatever, he's going to go and he's going to push this, and this isn't going to hurt just them. This is going to hurt every single person in that country.
Now, I'm not saying that they're literally just honking. Like, they are blocking roads, too. And they just want freedom to improve.
That southern border was pushing on it, towards us or whatever. Think about what the northern border is going to do once this happens. People are going to start fleeing. They're going to do whatever they can and do whatever they, to actually, remove themselves from situations and put themselves in better situations, because that's what they think that it's a human nature to put yourself in a better place. It just, I don't know. Nobody thinks about all this stuff or whatever. Everybody's so damn selfish. I mean, even myself, I'm selfish on certain things or whatever. When I'm done here, I'm going to go and I'm going to cook, Valentine's dinner for my family, so this isn't, everybody should be, chilling, relaxing, but no, we're all sitting there worried about what this guy's going to do and what the next guy's going to do, what the last guy before him is going to, was doing or whatever. They need to stop. They need to stop with this, all this ridiculousness.
Well, they're not going to stop just because we ask them.
No, they're going to continue to push because that's what they need.
All right,
Go
here's
ahead.
Quiet Boy again.
The scope of these measures will be time-limited, geographically targeted, as
Now you know that's a damn lie, because every time a government gains power, they don't like to let it go.
Right?
Look at the Department of Homeland Security. Holy hell. Has that become a huge thing?
well as reasonable and proportionate to the threats they are meant to address. The Emergencies Act will be used to strengthen and support law enforcement agencies at all levels across the country. This is about keeping Canadians safe, protecting people's jobs, and restoring confidence in our institutions.
People can't do their jobs unless they take your little Fauci ouchie, and that's just not happening for some of these people. They won't poison themselves and their kids for you.
And no,
But I'm not a
just lawyers
doctor,
trying to
so,
tell people
you know,
what to do
whatever.
and how to do it. But, yeah, I mean, at the same time, when you think about it, yeah, absolutely. Just because they're telling you that you need to do something to, it's like, no. Nobody should tell anybody what to do ever for any reason. And for you to call them names makes you the bigot, makes you the one that people are looking at is not paying attention to what we want.
You want the CDC to tell me what to do? I'll read the label on my Flintstones vitamin and see how many I'm supposed to eat.
Yeah, right?
Beyond that, go fuck yourself.
Here's how the measures we're taking today will help get the situation under control. The police will be given more tools to restore order in places where public assemblies can constitute illegal and dangerous activities, such as blockades and occupations as seen.
What's dangerous about it? Who got hurt except for the truckers that got ran over by your people? Get the fuck out of here, you lying dickhole.
In Ottawa, the Ambassador Bridge, and elsewhere. These tools include strengthening their ability to impose fines or imprisonment.
And yeah, if it was the other direction or whatever, oh my lord, people would be having a conniption fit.
What do you mean?
There's, because just like there's the right and the left here in the United States, it's the same way there. There's a right and a left. I mean, they're not that much different, really, when it comes down to it. I mean, it's so super similar.
You
They're
mean
gonna
like
push.
if our side was in Trudeau's situation?
So basically, what Trudeau's doing is he's acting like how Nancy Pelosi was acting when she accused people of doing things that they weren't technically doing on J6.
I see.
So I mean, they're going to push narratives. They're going to do whatever they can to push narratives because that's what makes the world go round for them. And they have following. They have a huge following. It's the people that pay attention to the mainstream media. They're like, oh yeah, finally they're going to take care of them. They're going to go take care of these these civilians that are blocking the, you know,
So sick of this, bro. I'm so sick of the mainstream
the,
media shit.
the mainstream media is poison, and it really is poison when it comes
Let's
down
just
to
do away with them somehow. I'll be good with it. Pretty much any way it gets done.
Well, so I mean, the only way you can do away with it would be to actually go to the point of allowing free speech.
Well, there are plenty of ways to go about it.
But allowing free speech is what's necessary, and that's
that's
the
exactly
hard
what's
one.
necessary.
That's the hard one that everybody doesn't really like to actually.
It's essential, actually.
Yeah, but that's the one that everybody has an issue with. That's the one that everybody's like, oh, you can't say certain things. It's like, well, yeah, we can. They're not conspiracy theories. They're only conspiracy theories because you say that they are until they're the truth. And then once we actually call you out on the truth, it's no longer considered, it's just like, just stop it. Both sides need to freaking stop it with their bullshit. So sick of this crap. And I got to do a show tonight, and oh man, let me tell you, I hope I can keep myself together for it. Because we're going to talk about the same kind of stuff, give or take within, we just, take out one person's name and put in the other. Because that's what it comes down to every single time. Hit play button.
Absolutely.
I want to go make dinner.
Secure and protect.
Well, you might have to leave early. There's a bit of
That
this.
are critical to our economy and people's jobs, including border crossings and airports. We cannot and will not allow illegal and dangerous activities to continue. The Emergencies Act will also allow the government to make sure essential services are rendered, for example, in order to tow vehicles blocking roads. In addition, financial institutions will be authorized or directed to render essential services to help address the situation, including by regulating and prohibiting the use of property to fund or support illegal blockades.
So, he's trying to get rid of Give, Send, Go. He's trying to make it illegal for Give, Send, Go to give to these guys.
Finally,
He's trying to make it illegal for anybody to be able to get to
RCMP
these
to
guys.
enforce municipal bylaws.
And he wants to charge every single one of them with some
where
kind of,
required. This is what the Emergencies
charge
Act
of
does.
crime. Go ahead, play.
Let me be equally clear about what it does not do. We're not using the Emergencies Act to call in the military.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
We're not suspending fundamental rights or overriding the Charter of Rights and Freedoms.
Yes, you are. I bet we can pull up a list.
We are not limiting people's freedom of speech. We are not limiting freedom of...
Yes, you are. That's all this is a big freedom of speech thing. It's like
And that's
you are choking off this whole demonstration.
What I just said. Pretty much.
Assembly, we are not preventing people from exercising their right to protest legally. We are reinforcing the principles, values, and institutions that keep all Canadians free. Après des discussions avec...
Following discussions with Cabinet and Caucus,
It's so fitting
after
that they make a
consulting
girl
the
speak
premiers
his
of all
French.
provinces and territories, and after speaking with the leaders of the opposition parties, The federal government
So he goes on to say the
has
same
invoked
thing here.
provincial interrogations will be
I was just going to say,
In
limited in
French.
time and
saying
geographically targeted to Canada's
what he
security and
just said
support
in
in order to
English.
deploy the
You
military
could say it in French because that's what they
peacefully,
do,
protecting Canadian,
which
reinstating,
is fine.
But it exists, something that's been used,
reinstating confidence in our institutions.
something that's been used ever. But it exists for a reason.
No, it is something that's been used throughout history. Just you've changed it and tweaked it a little bit, so you can claim that.
Invoking the Emergencies Act is never
Oh,
the first
is he
thing the
pulling
government
the?
should do, nor even the second.
Go
The act is
figure.
to be used sparingly and as a last resort. Right now, the situation requires additional tools not held by any other federal, provincial, or territorial law. Today, in these circumstances, it is now clear that responsible leadership requires us to do this. These measures must be and will be compliant with our Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Indeed, the Emergencies Act was created in the late 80s to flow from and uphold
Wrong.
the Charter. We'll always defend the rights of Canadians to peaceful assembly and to freedom of expression, but these blockades are illegal, and if you're still participating, the time to go home is now.
And now he's making threats. He says, anyone participating, you better leave. You better get the hell out of there, or else.
And I mean, and I'm totally with with these truckers when it comes down to it. It's they the reason that they're there in particular is something that never should be actually something that they should be there for. They shouldn't have to be there to talk about mandates. That's what it's all about. It's all going to be about mandates. Mandates of different types and forms. And people don't like mandates. I mean,
Well, these particular mandates, like usually if a mandate is if it's sensible, of course people are going to be like, yes, put that in. Go ahead.
so I plenty of times where I've worked like factory jobs or whatever, and they're like, you're working overtime hours on a regular basis or whatever, just because they need people to actually do the work.
Yeah.
And when it actually comes down to actually doing the work, you got 50 hours in or whatever, and it's Friday. You've worked 10-hour days as opposed to just a normal 8, and as opposed to just coming up to you and asking you, hey, would you be willing to work Saturday? They come up to you and they say, mandatory Saturday, you must be here, otherwise it goes against against you, like it would be a regular work day or whatever. And it's like, well, now wait a minute here. If you would have just walked up to me and said, hey, are you available tomorrow? I probably would have looked at him and said, yeah, let's do it. Sounds great. Who doesn't want another 10-hour day? Because a paycheck looks fat when you actually do that. You're like, it's really amazing how much money you can actually make when you're making double time money. So if they would just simply stop mandating things, people wouldn't get upset. But because the same place went and mandated that I change and do what they asked me to do, I'm just like, well, I had plans. I'm not going to be here. I didn't have any plans whatsoever. Had no plans. But because they want to pull some crap like that, you have to actually put them in their place. Otherwise, they're just going to continue week after week after week. Say, okay, mandatory Saturday. Okay, mandatory Saturday. Be like, no, I'm not going to do it. If only one person does it, eventually that one person gets fired. If you can convince, 4 or 5 people on the floor, like people that are necessary for that job to actually be done in the day, you seriously, you really change the complexion of things, and they actually stop mandating things and actually just come up to you. And so before I make it mandatory for everybody else, would you be willing to work? It was a regular thing that I would hear. And you're like, you can't do that. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, just don't put up the sign. Just be like, anybody that's willing to show up.
It's just the American way, man. Like, if you tell us to do something, we're going to say, go fuck yourself.
Right. You don't tell us what to do, ever. And that's basically what they're fighting against. Is they're fighting against that exact thing. Oh, it seems like you got a bit of a Russian bot going on there.
Yeah, I exercised him.
Oh, okay, you did. There you go. Why don't you hit play button on this guy? Let's get him done and over with.
Hey man, whenever you got a jet, I'm gonna keep on going for a while.
Act, I want to reassure people that the Canadian Border Services Agency is already turning back non-Canadians trying to enter Canada to participate in blockades. And of course, while we get the situation under control, we'll continue to have Canadians' backs. I want to remind
you have, bro, you have Canadians at your doorstep. Where are you? Are you at their backs? Are you saying we got you, bro?
No, he ain't saying anything close to that.
Affected
He means he has gun to their back.
Revenue losses, support is available through our wage and rent subsidy programs. We know that downtown Ottawa businesses.
He says, hey, it's okay if you've basically gone out of business because we told you to shut down when these guys are in town. We as the government, you can rely on us for living expenses. You can rely on us solely. Yeah. Beg us for money.
Some of the worst
have been hard hit by these illegal activities.
Ronald Reagan was a man of words. You want to know? You should seriously check out some of his speeches or whatever. I really like to go back on a lot of Ronald Reagan stuff or whatever, because I mean, he was president when I was a little kid, so I just always remember the guy. And I always remember his speeches, for what they were for the most part. It was just like he would seriously look at you and he'd be like the worst, the scariest words that come out of the government is "we're here and we're going to save you." So it's like something similar to that or whatever. Anyway,
and I remember the quote.
Right. The word to when people say things and they do things to you, it's not very fair. They need to stop. They need to leave people alone. Go ahead, hit play.
We'll be launching specific support for those businesses. I know that everyone is tired of this pandemic. We're hearing your frustration with COVID and even with the temporary measures we had to put forward to keep people safe. I know people are frustrated. I hear it. You have a...
How temporary are those measures, or have those measures been exactly? Because you told these good people 2 weeks.
Right to express that frustration, even your anger with the government or government policies. It's something we'll always defend in this free and democratic country. But blockading streets and critical infrastructure and depriving your neighbors of their freedoms is a totally different thing.
You pulled this trigger, man. You started it, bro. These people are showing you that they're not going to put up with it. They are absolutely done with the draconian measures.
Everyone is illegal like last week. We will continue making some
Briefly about our
subject in the coming days.
Today, I also want to speak briefly about our support for Ukraine. On Saturday, I spoke with President Zelensky to reaffirm Canada's steadfast support and to continue to do whatever we can.
So
to support
remember that
Ukraine.
name.
Durant la fin de semaine,
Remember that name that
During
he's
the
talking
weekend,
right there.
I
This is
also
President
spoke to
Zelensky. That's the president
Jean-Michel,
of the
as
Ukraine.
well as Chancellor Scholz of Germany and
That's
President Duda
tonight's
of
topic.
Poland.
G7 response
Yeah,
to
excellent.
support Ukraine's economic resilience. Today, we're announcing that
I'm saying,
Canada will offer
keep
a
that
loan
name in
of up to
mind.
$500 million.
Well, maybe keep this segment
to the
in mind, and
government
we
of
could talk
Ukraine.
about it tonight as well,
Thank Deputy Prime
because
Minister Freeland for
he
her
is
leadership on this file. To the
he's
government
basically
of Ukraine
talking
will offer
about what their plan for Ukraine is. So it's highly relevant to your topic.
a loan of up to $500
Anything that comes from these
million
guys is going to be
to the
super
government of
relevant.
Ukraine.
It's going to
Thank
be,
Deputy Prime Minister
you know,
Freeland for her leadership on this file.
non-stop
And
relevance.
underline that this is in addition to the $120 million
Should be a
loan
good show.
offered earlier in January.
Yeah.
On top of financial support, Canada has already taken steps to help Ukraine defend itself, including with the extension of the training mission
Only those that are paying
Operation
attention to
Unify.
you.
In light
and
of the
me.
seriousness of the
Well, actually,
situation
no,
and
that's-
following conversations with our Ukrainian partners, I've approved the provision of $7.8 million worth of lethal
Thank God.
equipment and ammunition. This responds to Ukraine's specific
So did you hear that here? Let's go back.
Yeah, no,
to
he's
the
fine. I
government
heard
of
him.
Ukraine. I want to thank Deputy Prime Minister Freeland for her leadership on this file and underline that this is in addition to the $120 million loan offered earlier
So there was already $120 million put towards this
in January.
just
On
this
top
January.
of financial support, Canada has already taken steps to help Ukraine defend itself, including with the extension of the training mission Operation Unify. In light of the seriousness of the situation and following conversations with our Ukrainian partners, I've approved the provision of $7.8 million worth.
So now he's sending 7.8 million more. You freaking animals. When are you gonna learn? When are you gonna learn what what good it's gonna do? You freaking animals. All it's gonna do is fill your pockets, you son of a bitch.
Of
Whoa.
lethal equipment and ammunition. This responds to Ukraine's specific request and is in addition to the non-lethal equipment we've already provided. The intent of this support from Canada and other partners is to deter further Russian aggression. En raison du sérieux de la situation,
And he's going to repeat that in French.
Given the serious issue, I ask Canada arms partners Ukraine
buying rapid confrontation
Russia from pursuing its aggression towards Ukraine.
with Russia. But the situation is intensifying rapidly, and we are showing our resolve. It's important for Canadians and the world to know that Canada will continue supporting Ukraine and its independence, integrity, sovereignty, including its right to defend itself. Merci tout le monde.
Thank you.
Isn't that what they're doing? They're defending themselves against your evil lockdowns and your evil mandates and your evil authoritarianism.
Yeah. So what it's all about. It's nothing's ever going to change. It's inevitable. Looks like, let me see if I can't get somebody to come in here with us.
Well,
I can go make some Jenny. Why don't you go hit play button?
sure thing.
Thank you, everyone. I will now give the floor to Deputy Prime Minister Freeland.
Merci, Monsieur le
Thank you, Prime Minister. Hello, everyone. Across the world, liberal democracies are being confronted with serious and repeated threats.
Yeah. Are you gonna name those threats? Because you might be looking yourself in the mirror.
Perhaps we thought, and we perhaps even hoped that Canada would be spared. For the last 2.5 weeks, we have realized that this is not the case. This siege and these blockades are causing major damage to our economy and are harming our democratic institutions as well as Canada's reputation in the world. International confidence towards Canada as a good place to invest and do business has been shaken.
barricades are doing great damage to Canada's economy and to our reputation as a reliable trading partner. The blockade of the Ambassador Bridge has affected about $390 million in trade.
Woo-hoo! Hold the line! Hold the line! That's freaking amazing. Let me get that again. That perked me right up.
About $390 million in trade
Woo!
each day.
Each
This
day,
bridge supports
$390 million
30%
in trade.
of all trade by road between Canada and the United States, our most important trading partner. In Coutts, Alberta, about $48 million in daily trade has been affected by the blockades.
Another 48 million in Coutts. So that's that was just in Alberta. Holy shit.
In Emerson, Manitoba, about $73 million in daily trade has been affected by the blockades.
Good.
These costs are real. They threaten businesses, big and small, and they threaten the livelihoods of Canadian workers, just as we are.
Are you guys starting to feel it in your pocketbooks yet? You rich assholes.
All working so hard to recover from the economic damage caused by COVID. Nous nous sommes battus bec et ongle.
We fought when we were negotiating.
We have a
NAFTA.
big Mike Obama coming in to tell us all about her
We stood up to Tariff
bottom
232,
surgery.
which were illegals and unjustified.
Welcome, Mike.
Hong Kong.
What's up, Mike?
Honk. Have you been briefed?
I mean, I know Trudeau declared war on the Canadian public.
Yep.
I'm not entirely sure if there's been more development since
That's
his
about as
initial
brief as you need to be.
He also has made it illegal to basically donate to these guys in Canada.
I mean, this is the kind of shit that's like, well, I should just go buy a drone, drive over to Detroit, and like airlift shit across the border. Fuck 'em.
Yes, that's excellent. See, Mike. See, this is why we needed your point of view, because you just put things so eloquently.
I am definitely on the like take it slightly too far side of this. Like, there's part of me debating if I should join the U.S. trucker convoy and just going along for the ride to see what happens.
Do it.
That'd be
Do
sick
it.
as fuck. Why not, dude?
Don't think about it. Just do it.
Literally the money. Like, if it wasn't that I still had to pay rent, I would already be there.
Well, you won't be paying no rent where you're going.
I
You won't
mean,
even
maybe
need money
that
for
is a
food.
self-correction problem. Got 3 hots and a cot for free at the end of it.
Not bad. That's a good consolation prize.
That or I become president. I mean, it's really an either or. It's win-win.
I was just thinking the same thing. I'm like, no, wait a minute here. What happens if you actually win? You know?
Well, I mean, all you got to do to be president is be super racist and lie about the college you went to.
I mean, I lie about the college I went to just because I'm embarrassed. I don't want to admit it. They got super woke and now it's just kind of
See,
cringy and I don't
you
want
got
to
a
be
leg up
associated.
right there. That's president material.
Harvard.
I didn't lie on my admissions and claim I was a minority, though. I guess I should have done that. I could have been
Yeah.
Elizabeth Warren.
I'm endogenous. Oh, what's up, Grim? How you doing, man? Grim's Bars
Oh,
in the
man.
chat right here.
Ooh, you have the cool chat banner.
Yes, I
Grim's
do.
Bar.
Howdy, Grim.
Howdy ho!
Got a cool banner. I'll have to look into that a little closer. Kind of a cool banner I can put on mine, I guess.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. All right, let's get into it.
We will never let those hard-won victories be tarnished. The world is watching us. Our jobs, our
The
prosperity,
world is watching us.
and our livelihoods
Africa being
are
like,
in danger.
didn't you
That
yell
is
at us
why our
when we
government
cracked down
is
on
acting.
protesters?
We
What's
are
up with
resolute
this?
and determined. These illegal blockades
See,
must
Africa
be
had a
lifted.
whole race
And they will be.
extinction thing trying to go on down
Invoking the
there.
Emergencies Act.
There's already
We are
Indians being
announcing
like,
the
did
following
Trudeau
immediate
support
actions.
farmers when they were protesting in
We are
India? How come he
broadening the
doesn't have the
scope
same
of
view of his
Canada's
own?
anti-money laundering and terrorist financing
Because he
rules
needs to follow
so
the
that they
leftist
cover
narrative.
crowdfunding platforms
Because he picks and
and the
chooses
payment
what's best to
service
suit the
providers
narrative.
they use. These
I mean,
changes
I
cover all
understand.
forms of
It's also
transactions,
because this is about
including
power in his
digital
own
assets,
country, and he's
such
tried to repress the working folk.
No, absolutely. Well, it's like he's
Order.
literally trying to Turker jobs, you know? Like he's trying to frickin' eliminate these guys' well-being in any way he can, including taking their warmth at night. World is watching our jobs, prosperity, and livelihoods, aka everyone is watching us get fucked economically, and economically. I mean, not to mention mentally, like this shit is doing a number on older folks that just wonder what the hell happened to their country before their very eyes. But yeah, let's continue here. I'll put that comment up.
I mean, I think the
As
number
cryptocurrency.
of people who fled communist countries that condemn Trudeau's actions is very enlightening.
Well, people that fled communist countries can always spot a commie, right? Like that. They're like, oh fuck.
Well, I mean,
that
they
guy,
just
I
don't
wanna-
want to see that shit again, right? They left for a reason.
And well, they see the signs. They see the signs in the legislature and in the changes in government and things. They know what to look for because they've seen it happen already.
Oh, you'd hope and think so, but it seems as though as a lot of them that have actually gone through it and lived through it and are still around seem to not really care so much George Soros. You know,
Well, see, it's different when you're part of it.
Well, I mean, it can be, but you know, at the same time, I mean, I just hate to, you know, the fact that you know these communists that are out there are actually the ones that have, you know, been communists for their whole life, and
Well,
you know,
in Trudeau's case, he was born into it, right? Allegedly, as shirts would say.
Right.
Nice evil laugh there, Mike.
Scratch a liberal and you'll find a fascist.
All right,
Exactly.
let's hit this shit till our bones collapse.
The illegal blockades have highlighted the fact that crowdfunding platforms and some of the payment service providers they use are not fully captured under the Proceeds of Crime and Terrorist Financing Act. Our banks and financial institutions are already obligated to report to the Financial Transactions and Reports Analysis Centre of Canada, or FINTRAC. As of today, all crowdfunding platforms and the payment service providers they use must register with FINTRAC and they must report large and suspicious transactions to FinTrack. This will help mitigate the risk
So,
that these platforms receive illicit
Mike,
funds.
were you here listening when I said that these guys were trying to take away the GoFund, or not the GoFundMe, the Give Send Go? Like they're making it illegal?
Not sure if I was here, but I know that's the case.
Oh, okay. What are your thoughts on that one, buddy?
I mean, of course they are, right? Like, this is just the general war powers thing. They're coming after the money. They're going to conscript people to force them out, and they're going to use as much force and other punishment as they possibly can, right? They declared war on these people. Expect them to use all the tools.
Right. All of them.
Like, this is literally the war act that they are invoking against these
This is the
truckers.
beginning of the charity.
Well, we have a Gurimu.
Hello,
How's it going, man?
The good
Hello,
news.
Kalista.
Hello, my
Soviet
friend.
Russia.
Is Dafer Bobka.
What is up? What is up, bitches?
Nothing much. We're looking at Canada right now. Very fucking up.
A coffee
Oh.
mug of vodka.
Oh man, oh, man.
Maple
Oh,
syrup they got with their vodka for whatever reason.
good. Very
I don't
good, very
understand.
good. Yeah. Trudeau's mom got seed of communism in Cuba.
Good lord.
Yeah. The seed was. Oh, come down. I can't do it anymore. I was about to go all German. But yeah, Trudeau's mom got the seed of communism while she was in Cuba, so that was cool. You catch my drift.
Mr. Well, I better not say.
She was high on the commie pole.
She was high on a pole, all right.
Oh, yes.
And it wasn't the North Pole. All
So-
right, let us do. Oh, yes.
So
Did you
she
have-
did say something interesting. Can you
Yes.
go back about 30 seconds?
Of course.
Of course, my
Fine.
is the
friend.
Quality and Analysis Center of Canada, or FinTrack.
Around here,
As of today, all crowdfunding platforms
Yes.
and the
Yes,
payment
my friend.
service providers they use must register with FinTrack, and they must report large and suspicious transactions to FinTrack.
Okay, pause.
This
Pause,
will help.
pause.
yeah, the FinTrack
So
thing.
one is purely voluntary, right? So one party has a fully voluntary transaction that's occurring, and the other one gets their money through compelled action and force and threat of the jailhouse and the bayonet. So please tell me how the fuck can she sit there and grandstand when one crowdfunding that is voluntary is evil, but crowdfunding that is compelled through force and violence is perfectly fucking legitimate.
Well, because only one of those threatens their democracy.
It's bullshit.
It is. It sounds like a bunch of bullshit to me.
Well, I'm talking about like taxes and stuff like that, right? It's through.
One moment, I'm getting a knock at my door.
Oh, hello. But
Stuff that you do in your underwears.
you know what? Fine, do the track thing, but make all taxes for certain programs, whatever they are, make them all voluntary, right? So give somebody a list of
Oh man, I would love that. Can I not pay for a lot of that social bullshit?
Well, I mean, that's something I really think, right? Like, imagine if you had a tax plan where it was all voluntary, but people could choose where their taxes went. Kind of like, what is it? Like, whenever you do like so when I was in service, we did a thing where you could say, hey, I want this much of my paycheck to go towards this charity and this much towards this charity and blah, 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 right? They give you that option. So why not say, hey, here are these programs. Here's all the stuff on them. And you get to choose which ones you want to support. So if you want like roads or more policing or this or that, you can fund directly into that program. And I don't see what the problem with that. You know what I mean? And that's the way it should be. But anyway, yeah, we're getting off topic. So anyway,
Oh, okay. I was wondering how it related. I was like, so what are you talking about?
I mean, yeah, I'm down to yell
Oh,
about
well-
tax policy, but that is definitely a different topic.
yeah.
No, I mean,
Well,
it's totally chill if we go off topic.
I mean, she's talking about crowdfunding and how it's so evil and large, suspicious transactions. It's like if you don't fire the prosecutor, you're not getting $1 billion. That's
Yeah.
not suspicious.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I mean, they just want to be able to
like
round
that.
up people funding them. That's really what it is, right? Like, these
Yeah.
are people who went to someone's house with a pamphlet telling them how to protest.
and the problem is, right? These politicians come in and they'll say, "Hey, we want to round up people who want to fund this thing," but they'll turn around and throw you in jail if you don't fund them. Like it's very mob-esque, you know.
Yeah, like protection money.
It's not even protection money. It's like,
Fine.
hey, awfully nice place you got here. It'd be a shame if something were to happen to it. And yeah, it's just double standard. Drives me up the ball.
And that's all we see from them now too, you know.
Mitigate the risk that these platforms receive illicit funds. Increase the quality.
Who defines what illicit funds are?
And isn't money speech? Isn't the majority of the money
She
coming from
means
America?
money that threatens her democracy. Like, those are the words you should know that.
What about our people?
But I mean, it's a serious problem because money is speech. I mean, there's a Supreme Court case on this in the U.S. So wouldn't
Yeah,
Canada?
this would fly in the U.S. as easily, but Canada is.
Isn't Canada abridging Americans' First Amendment rights?
I mean, we don't have a right to transfer money to Canada.
It's not going to Canada.
I mean, I don't think that they'll have any ability to stop the flow of it in the U.S. side.
I say U.S. truckers just go pitch up on the other side of the border.
Was this the Federal Election Commission back in 2010?
What, that money is speech?
Concerning the relationship between campaign finance and free speech?
Yeah. So basically, the Supreme Court said money is speech and corporations are people.
Yes.
But they're people who work for the federal government. So I think when you come to corporations that we're getting way off topic, but yeah, just never mind.
Hit
About to
play.
go down a
Quality
big
and
rabbit hole.
quantity of intelligence received by FinTrack and make more information available to support investigations by law enforcement
FinTrack?
into these illegal blockades. We are making these changes because we know that these platforms are being used to support illegal blockades and illegal activity, which is damaging the Canadian economy. The government will also bring forward legislation to provide these authorities to FinTrack on a permanent basis. Second, the government is issuing...
So, she keeps on saying FinTrack, FinTrack, FinTrack. Have you guys heard of this?
an order.
No.
It's
Did you look into
like
it?
the Canadian banking system's financial tracking.
Oh, that's disturbing.
With immediate effect under the Emergencies Act, authorizing Canadian financial institutions to temporarily cease providing financial services where the institution suspects that an account is being used to further
Canada's financial
illegal
intelligence
blockades
unit.
and occupations.
See, they keep
This
on calling the
order
blockades
covers
illegal,
both-
but are they illegal?
No.
Or have they just made them illegal since they started happening?
The government ruled that honking is too aggressive because it hurts the VPs of politicians, and so they are now illegal in the technical sense.
Yeah, well, they put out a little gag order on them. You'll get fined if you honk now.
Yeah, they arrested some old man who just happened to honk his horn in traffic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I covered that. They put his arm behind his back and everything. It was really rough to watch.
And now that they actually did what they did, now they're going to actually do more than what they already had been doing.
It
Wow,
was pretty funny. There was this freedom guy behind him.
Deterrence of money laundering and financing terrorist activities.
Yep, they have classified these guys as straight up terrorists.
That's absurd.
That is the implication. And in fact, this is an act of war that is, like war powers that have never been used before.
Mm-hmm.
Like they are calling the truckers a graver threat to Canadian sovereignty than anything that's happened in decades.
It's like equating J6 to, World War II. Or
I mean, this is common for fascists, right? They like to yell about how their adversaries are terrible and initiate crackdowns. What we're seeing is a struggling fascist regime with very low support engage in street violence against dissidents. Happens all the time, just not usually in Canada.
Canada's usually been pretty chill until they got this asshole in.
Like if you go to Asia, you go to Africa, this happens to some country there once a year. It's just not usually Canada.
You should look up who the powers be were that actually made Trudeau the person that he is.
WEF.
Oh.
What they're doing is illegal. Right here. Lawyers secure constitutional exemption from FinTrek report rules. Sections of the federal government, anti-terrorism, and money laundering financing law are unconstitutional because they violate solicitor-client privilege. The Supreme Court of Canada says. So what they're doing is they're violating solicitor-client privilege through these fundraisings.
Yeah, but they can do it through the War Act.
No, they can't.
They can, though. It gives them permission to do all this kind of stuff. Do you want me to send you the link on what this War Act does?
In a 7-0 ruling, the court carved out an exemption for lawyers from the federal government's 2000s law, target money laundering and terrorist financing. The law applies to other professions such as financial institutions and accountants. Yeah, dude. It was a unanimous decision against it for financial institutions.
So if you look at the war law, or the War Act that he just implemented, it basically gives him permission to tweak other mandates and such things, other acts as well, during such times of terrible crisis as they are so facing. Canada is being starved out by this, and I'd wager within
here I dropped it in general chat.
Couple more months, this could get messy.
Here I dropped it in general chat.
I mean, it's been messy for quite a few years here or whatever. I mean, there's a guy that's complaining and telling us that we need to watch out and pay attention to a country called China. And he'd say it multiple times. Every time that he'd talk about it, he wouldn't just say it once. He'd say it twice. He'd say it 3 times. He'd even change the inflection on it just a little bit. And I mean, there was a thing, and I don't know if it's still a thing or not, but there was a thing that said that there were multiple different Chinese military camps that are on the border of Canada and the United States. And at any point in time, they'd be able to actually go and invade the United States without an issue.
Who? Canada? China?
China. China.
Look at this guy. I can just look at him and say, "You're evil, aren't you?" He looks
Can you
like
drop a link to
freaking.
that? I'm kind of curious, man.
Oh, to the yeah, I can do that for you, Doug.
Oh, I'm talking about the Chinese camps, yeah.
Oh, you didn't want to know
But
about
yeah,
the War Act?
you as well, yeah.
I can't drop you a link on it. Like I said, this is something that I remember from a few years back or whatever. I don't know if it was ever something that was just
There you go,
a
Doug.
conspiracy theory that never actually became of something. But if I'm not mistaken, there was something
Damn.
to do about.
Is that your words per minute, Mike?
What? Oh, yeah, no, I type professionally all day.
Holy shit. That was like a machine. It's like
he's
Chicago typewriter over there. It's freaking lit.
Why is Santa cockeyed? Sorry.
No, it's what's his face? It's Red Skull's little henchman. What's his name?
It's Red Skull's henchman.
Yeah, I would be intrigued to see Runkle's thoughts on this because there's certain carve outs, you know.
I would almost assume that we would see something from both Runkle and Viva within the next. I'm surprised we really haven't already.
Yeah, I'm gonna
this
go
whole
find-
situation.
Yeah, I'm gonna find
Mike.
Runkle's
It's
video.
very disturbing when you think about it. What?
He does look weirdly like that guy. Okay.
What I tell you, bro? What I tell you? Okay.
He does. He does look weirdly.
Okay, let's get back to the video here. Did you want us to go through this at all, Grim?
Fincheck. Just watch the video. Finish the video.
Did we lose a Grim?
No.
No, he's here. We can
All
still
right.
go through Fincheck, but let's finish the
Um,
video. Been watching this video for an hour and 15 minutes.
That's chill, dog. Like I said, you can dip whenever.
That's fine. I'm good for now.
Here we go. Got so many tabs to scroll through. It's a pain sometimes. All right.
Personal and corporate accounts. Third, we are directing
Personal and
Canadian
corporate?
financial institutions. Third, we are directing Canadian financial institutions to review. This order covers both personal and corporate accounts.
Yep.
Third, we are directing Canadian financial institutions to review their relationships with anyone involved in the illegal blockades and report to the RCMP or CSIS. As of today,
They're doing a dragnet.
a bank or other
Yeah, they're actually going to people's houses too. Like anybody involved with the online portion of this on Facebook and stuff. Like if you're part of a group, they send people to your house with little pamphlets saying what you're doing is wrong.
Tell them get the fuck off my property.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is why America shouldn't get rid of the Second Amendment.
Yep, because this shit would happen on steroids here in America.
Oh man, yeah. Oh, shit would literally be popping off.
Well, there's just no going house to house threatening people in most of the U.S., right? Like, you won't come back from that trip as a cop.
Nope.
You got 10 seconds before I stick my lion on you. What the hell? He's hungry. Come on.
I mean, even in cities, there's parts of major cities police, like, won't do that shit in unless there's, like, 10 of them.
Yep. There's a reason why it's called Chirac instead of Chicago.
Chirac.
Chirac, yeah.
Bro, you do not know the psycho living next to you. Let me tell you, He could have a lion in his house. He could have like 16 snakes that he would just let out at any moment because he went berserk. Like, you don't know who you're living next to, what they got.
16 snakes.
Oh, I know who I'm living next to. I know. when your house shakes, and shit falls off the walls, you know your neighbors doing pretty okay.
We should all have cannons in our windows.
Provider will be able to immediately freeze or suspend an account without a court order.
What?
Yep.
War power.
That's what I'm saying. This thing is overreach beyond measure. This is we got you by the balls act.
This is Directive 51 level shit.
Yeah, dude. This was
declared war
implemented
on
so
the
long ago
truckers.
too. Like this was used back in World War One. It's and every time it has to do with internment.
Be like, come at me, bro.
Listen. Every time it has to do with internment. So every time this act is like enacted, somebody gets interned. Whether it's whether it's the Ukrainians way back in World War One, or whether it's the Japanese in World War Two. Like every time this happens, people get put in jail or like put in straight up internment camps.
Unacceptable.
They used it in the October Crisis as well.
I don't know too much about the October Crisis. I heard a little bit.
1970 1970 Canada. October Crisis refers to a chain of events that started in October 1970 when members of Front de Liberation de Quebec, the FLQ, kidnapped a provincial deputy, Deputy Premier Pierre Leperté, and British diplomat James Cross from his Montreal residence. These events saw the Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau invoking the War Measures Act for the first time in Canadian history during peacetime.
Like father, like son.
Wait, no, that's not fair in this case.
Mm-hmm. Like father,
well,
like
because
bastard.
We're not sure. Yeah, there you go. But yeah, that's basically the gist of it. They did it because some people kidnapped some Canadian dignitaries.
What was the...
What was the what?
What was the motive? Why did... So many questions.
I believe it was just a revolutionary group. Like they just wanted it all to stop, I'm guessing. Like who knows what their motivations were, you know? Maybe they even say in the article. I just didn't read on. We could look further into it, but I mean it's kind of relevant just because of the same act has been involved, and we could see what kind of went out in there if we would like to after the video plays out farther.
Yeah.
In doing so, they will be protected against civil liability for actions taken in good faith.
In other words, we don't want a bunch of lawsuits, so we're just going to suspend your account if you try to donate to these guys.
She just basically gave... See, that's bullshit. When the government gives immunity to a corporation for them to be a strong hand against a certain group of people, that's unacceptable. That is absolutely unacceptable. There's no recourse whatsoever if that corporation violates any laws or goes outside the bounds of or anything like that. It's disgusting.
I mean, the way this usually gets resolved is the administration that puts Trudeau's regime on trial just declares all of these actions invalid and goes ahead and prosecutes the corporations anyway.
Yeah, let's hope.
I mean, that's the solution in like other countries, right? Like, again, this isn't the first time in the history of the world we've seen something like this. The solution when the next government comes in is to go ahead and just prosecute everyone.
So you
Yeah,
think
they
there
usually
will
call
be a
corporate
replacement
backers,
of government
the
here?
WEF, like everyone involved, throw their ass in prison forever.
Yep.
So, Mike, you think there will be a replacement of government here?
Trudeau was at 15% going into this. This is not
What?
going down
Oh,
well with
shit.
anyone moderate,
15?
right? Yeah, his regime had collapsed.
15%.
Yes. In the latest poll.
Holy
Damn, bro.
shit.
This dude is about
Yeah,
to
he's
get
a bigger
frickin'
piece of shit than what Joe Biden really is.
Not to
Which
go
is
away Mussolini if he ain't careful, man.
Yeah,
You better
they're
get
gonna
the fuck out.
Robespierre this guy.
I'm just saying, when you're already on the way out, declaring war on the people and going down swinging is a good way to end up swinging permanently.
He died how he lived.
Swinging until the twitching stopped.
Oh, that's crazy.
Government institutions will have a new broad authority to share relevant information with banks and other financial service providers.
Who is the czar for relevant information? Like, what,
The spy agency who's trying to unperson you.
thank you. Do you got any particulars? Like, would it just be their version of the FBI, or what the fuck?
Royal Canadian Mounted Police, I think it is.
What, they do investigations
CMP,
like
yeah.
that?
RCMP is basically the Canadian FBI.
To ensure that we can all work together to put a stop to the funding of these illegal blockades.
Honk.
This is about following the money. This
Pause.
is about stopping.
Pause. I have a solution.
Yes.
I have a fucking solution.
Please
So
tell
here's
them.
what you do. Here's what you do. You have GoFundMe, right? You have a representative for the
Did she
trucker.
accidentally tell the truth?
Well. Here's the trick, right? So you have the truckers, okay? And the truckers are pretty good at moving material between Canada and the United States, correct? So let's just say some of the truckers, let's say, went to the United States where they spent those funds on goods and then took those goods into Canada. They would actually get around all their stupid fucking laws and be able to go and just give the raw material to, to the truckers.
and certain
Get around this whole
only
fast track
certain
thing.
products can you do that because now I used to work in work in the Mall of America selling shoes. We'd get a lot of people a lot of tourists that would come through, a lot of people, so like our tax rates are so much better in the state of Minnesota as opposed to like Chicago. Chicago has a 20% tax rate. Shoes and clothes in Minnesota are tax free. Our income tax is ridiculous. That's totally another story. Beside the point is people that would come into Minnesota thinking, oh, your tax rates are great. Yeah, it works great if you're living in the States. If you're living in Canada, taking that textile back across the border, they scan it, they figure out what you did, and then you actually have to pay a certain percentage in tax or to actually bring the stuff back. So,
No, I'm saying to Canada.
You had to keep yourself, to Canada. Canadians would actually tell you, yes, they do have to pay a certain amount of tax to cross back into that border.
I mean, I'm just not worried about truckers being able to figure out logistics, right? Like, that's not a fight they're going to lose. The one capability in the world that the trucking companies for sure have is the ability to get goods from one place to another reliably.
Yeah, and they're thinking they can do the money thing, but they don't necessarily have to do the money thing. They can just do the logistics thing.
Well, also, what are you going to do? Like, there's so many people who aren't at the protest but are allied with these people in a quieter way that stopping all the money flow to them just isn't a thing, right? So,
Mike, I liked your idea better. I think we should just get an army of drones and fly food over to them.
I mean, they have trucks. Like, they're going to have to block the roads into Ottawa and set up checkpoints to stop the truckers from bringing whole truckloads of food in if they wanted to.
But that's against international law. They can't. That's against international law. This just so drives me up a wall. Like if you're bringing food and goods in, right, in a humanitarian action, then it's not.
Yes, it
You know what
is
I mean?
literally a starvation against your own people from a dictator. This is
Yeah, and
like the
siege
kind of shit we
warfare.
condemn in Africa, right?
Yeah, and
Like,
siege warfare has been against international law for almost 80 years now. Oh, almost. Oh, it's over 100, isn't it? Didn't that siege warfare become illegal after World War One?
I mean, I feel like World War II started because in practice we were sieging Japan of oil, but maybe.
I'm gonna actually just step out of this conversation for a little bit. I gotta do some stuff
All right,
with the
man.
family. It is Valentine's Day. Everybody, good
Oh,
Valentine's Day.
why are you here with
If
us?
I
Go
don't
see
come
your
back
wife,
soon
man.
enough,
Yeah, bro.
I'm going to.
Why don't you show yourself out here?
You know, and you can always find me. You know, there's a link tree. You know, /coolfrog. You can always find me. There's plenty of places to follow me. If you actually sub to my YouTube channel, you can actually currently catch Discord link for free. Before we decide to actually try to change that, eventually that's going to happen. You guys are all lucky you got in there before you get, while you had a chance. That being said, don't forget to catch me at midnight tonight, Central Standard Time.
Yeah, links are in the description.
It's like 5.5 hours away. I got to get some nap in there too. So,
All right, man. Have a good one.
yeah, you guys have a good night.
Deuces, Frogman. Happy Valentine's. Beep boop. All right. Shall we continue?
Who owns the
boys?
waterway? Who owns the lake?
The lake?
Mhm.
Oh,
I think it's like half and half. Doesn't the
yeah, I would
boundary
assume
kind of
it's
go down the
split.
middle?
I would assume it's split for their like seafaring peoples. Because over at what is it? Shit. What the fuck is it? Boundary Waters. Over at the Boundary Waters, there's like a little like a cutoff point over there, or like wherever you can canoe just right down into Canada. Like up in Ely too. Anywho.
Violates LOAC. That's why you can't do it.
I think a frogman randomly returned. Can I kick him from the show? Or did he have something to say? I don't know. I'll just leave him go. Alright, let's continue on.
The financing of these illegal blockades. We are today serving notice. If your truck is being used in these illegal blockades, your corporate accounts will be frozen. The insurance on your vehicle will be suspended. Send your...
Which vehicle? Just the truck?
You know, it's whatever they can get their hands on. These people are fucking fascists.
Oh, it's so disturbing. Look at what they're doing. Can you believe this shit? This is just at a whole nother level, man. Like
Trudeau has the face of anger.
Yeah, he kind of does look angry.
Contempt.
For her. Or maybe for the situation. It looks like he's staring off in the distance.
He's stressed. He's super stressed.
Yeah, dude. Well, he's nervous as fuck, too. Did you see him when he was talking about the small fringe minority?
You mean small fringe majority?
Yeah.
Semi-trailers.
The 5 out of 6 people in the world who
Canadian
hate
economy
him.
needs them to be
Oh,
doing
shit.
legitimate work, not to be illegally making us all poorer. Il s'agit de suivre la
Go back,
Jesus
go back.
Christ.
Funding of these
Yeah.
Go back and watch
to
your
be
eyebrows. Watch your eyebrows.
illegally making us all poorer.
Yep, go back about 10 more seconds.
Illegal needs them to be doing
Watch her eyebrows. When
legitimate
she
work,
looks up, and she's
not
trying to say
be
something, she'll believe me.
illegally
Look,
making us all poorer.
eyebrows down.
The economy needs them
Eyebrows
to
up.
be doing legitimate work,
Legitimate.
not to be illegally
Illegal.
making us all poorer.
Believe me.
Il s'agit
They're
These
No,
people
yeah,
have
making them
destroyed
more.
their economy, and they have the fucking like gall to talk about anyone else hurting it. They just need to be ended, right? This is no longer a regime that is in touch with reality. It is no longer a regime working in the interest of the public. It is a regime that has literally declared war on a part of the public for engaging in democratic protest. They need to go.
You know that eyebrow thing could also be an attitude problem she's got.
No, that's a believe me look. It's she's trying
Well, that,
to
with the head
sell.
tilt, you see the head tilt.
all poorer.
Hold on, or like
Il s'agit de
see that?
suivre la all, not to be illegally making us all poorer. Not to be Canadian economy needs them to
That
be
was a
doing
micro.
legitimate work. Not to
Yeah, I
be
think she's got an attitude,
illegally
man.
She didn't.
making
No,
us
that's a.
all
She
poorer.
doesn't believe what she's about to say.
Il
That was a
s'agit de
micro. If you
suivre
pause
la
real quick,
all
that was
Well,
a.
I'm
micro
not seeing
expression.
any
to be
shrugging though.
illegally making us all poorer. Il s'agit
There's no separation
making
from what she's
us
saying,
all poorer.
You know what
except
she
for the
sounds like?
choppiness of the
Il
I
words.
did
s'agit
not
de suivre
have
la
sexual
It's
relations
all
Yeah.
about
with
following
him.
the money.
So what you saw
It's
there
about
with her head
putting an
moving to the
end
left,
to the
that's
funding of these
it's a
illegal blockades.
micro expression or a micro expression where
Consider
she's
yourselves
saying,
warned.
I don't believe this, but I need people to
If
believe
your
me.
truck
Believe me. That's why
is
the
used
eyebrows
in
went
these
up.
blockades,
I know. I watched Lie to Me.
your corporate accounts will be frozen. The insurance on your vehicle will be suspended. Send
Okay, yeah, this is
needs
just her repeating
us
it in
all poor.
France.
Wait,
Taking these
insurance?
discussed
I thought
this
insurance
with the
was
head.
privately owned.
We've
Why the hell
Nope,
is
make us
nope,
all
insurance?
nope.
poorer.
You didn't hear that part, dude? That's the big
Keep the
part.
money.
That's one of the big parts. So the insurance on your truck is going to be revoked.
Insurance.
Yes.
It's about putting an end to the funding of these.
to be economy needs. Send your semi-trailers home. The Canadian economy needs them to be doing legitimate work, not to be illegally making us all poorer.
Get back to work, slave.
Il s'agit de
Right?
ensure
Like the utter
that
contempt in
actions
telling them to
taken
get back to
in
quote
good
unquote
faith.
legitimate work rather
Federal
than
government
protest,
institutions will have
while refusing
a
to
new
even discuss
broad
the issue with
authority
them,
to share
is such
relevant
utter contempt of
information
the
with
Canadian public.
banks
Well, let's get back to
Absolutely.
work, slave, before we send our troops after you.
and other
What?
financial service providers to ensure that we can all work together.
Oh, any
to put a
Canadian
stop to this
soldier who
corrupt-
participates
share
in this is a
relevant
traitor.
Information with work together. This is about following the money. This is about stopping
The
the
people who
financing
bribed you.
of these illegal blockades. We are today serving
No.
notice.
When she says follow the
Your
money,
truck
she means
is being
go where
used in
where
these
the money told her
illegal
to go.
blockades. Your corporate
Right?
You know what I
accounts
mean?
Exactly.
will
Hey, you
be
take this
frozen.
money and go do
The
that thing.
insurance on your vehicle will
Take
be
that money.
suspended.
Here we go. Here we go. This is it.
The insurance, your corporate accounts, is being used in these illegal blockades. Your corporate accounts will be frozen. The insurance on your vehicle will be suspended. Send your semi-trailers home. The Canadian economy needs them to be doing legitimate work.
Yeah,
poorer.
yeah. They'll suspend your
Il s'agit-
insurance.
It's about putting an end to your cell blockades. The insurance
So then you'll
on
just
your
be
vehicle
illegally on the road and
will be
fined into
suspended.
oblivion.
Yep.
economy, and not we've thought. I think our economy.
One another. Institute.
Hey, cool question, Mike.
We have trusted one another.
Yep.
So this whole thing that's going on with the truckers, I was
Yes,
talking
sir.
with family about this. It's awfully reminiscent of the Continental Army. sitting in and blocking up the city and stopping the bridges because they weren't getting paid. Right? Remember that? After the
I mean, you are clearly better
Revolutionary War.
versed on history here than I am. I'm not familiar with that.
Okay, so we had the Articles of Confederation. Remember the first pact, right?
Yes.
Mutual Defense Pact. So that existed, and the Continental Armies basically didn't get paid. And since they didn't get paid for their contributions, they went to the Capitol and they sat in the Capitol for like 2 months and blocked the bridges and burned the bridges down and this, that. People tried sending in armies and shit to get rid of them. And there was shots and everything else. Well, then they said, well, the Articles of Confederation aren't really strong enough. So we need to make the Constitution. So then the Constitution came about. So it's very reminiscent of that, right? Where when the people try to do something, the government just solidifies itself. And that's exactly what they're doing here.
Sorry, you were talking about like the formation of our country. I got a little patriotic.
Yeah, you're good. We need to return to Articles. That's just my opinion, though.
Articles of impeachment to start.
Another, we've leaned on one another. What we are facing today is a threat to our democratic institutions, to our economy, and to peace, order, and good government in Canada. This is
Institutions, economy,
It cannot
and our
stand,
obedience,
and
right? Like,
it will not stand.
yes,
And
we
the
know what you're about,
corporations
lady.
besides,
Now,
right?
turn over the
Like
floor
she
to my
just missed
colleague,
one.
Our Attorney General, Minister of Justice, David Lametti.
Oh, happy and bouncy and bubbly and see, I'm small. You should believe what I said. Don't come after me. That's what that was.
Yeah,
It was a don't
little
come
girl.
after me.
It's a
I'm
little
small
girl,
and powerless. That's
kinda
all that.
Nope.
But
Everyone that's on
Yeah.
that stage, all gotta go.
Thank you, Deputy Prime Minister.
Kaboom!
Thank you,
Missile
Prime
through the
Minister,
roof.
colleagues,
Ah,
Canadians.
shit.
Good afternoon.
Damn shame.
Canada is a rule of law country. By declaring a public order emergency under the Emergencies Act,
what?
we are following
Here in
the order
Canada, we have
emergency.
rules.
It's a rule of law
We have
country.
rules in Canada.
By declaring
Do you not follow
public
the
order
rules?
emergency under the Emergencies Act, we are
taking
following the
away your
law,
rights.
and we are acting within it.
With
There
impunity.
are clear conditions set out in the Emergencies Act in order for a public order emergency to be declared. Our government believes that those conditions have been met.
List
Don't
them.
make
And
me
that
snatch your
requires
weave,
List
bro.
them.
He gonna be
Canada.
hung.
List them.
This is the
List
guy
them.
Trudeau's
Les
going to try and
mesures
offer as a
d'urgence.
sheep. Remember to kill them
Emergency
all.
Oh, they
Measures
won't,
Act
dude. They
has
don't have
existed
them.
since 1988.
And they don't want to
replaced
say them if they
the
do.
War Measures Act. It is different from the previous act in two important ways. First
There's
of
an
all,
and clause.
the Emergencies Act has several ways of safeguarding measures, including parliamentary review. Secondly, measures taken under this act must comply and observe the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms.
Bullshit.
Specific, serious circumstances that amount to a national emergency.
What was
For a
that?
situation to be qualified as a national emergency,
Maybe
three
my chair.
conditions must be met. First, we must be in a situation that either seriously endangers lives, health, or safety of Canadians and exceeds the capacity or authority of a province to deal with it, or seriously threatens the ability of the Government of Canada to preserve the sovereignty, security, and territorial integrity of Canada.
Pause.
Second,
He didn't
And
say which of them he believed.
well, it says and, not or for that last part. It says and this. So this or this and that. So it could be 1 and 3, 2 and 3, but not 1, 2, or 3. Right?
Hmm.
And so he just fucking lied.
Are
I
you
mean,
shocked?
he also didn't say which of two options he was saying this was.
True. But he misstated it. He said or this or this or this. It's like no, this or that and that.
Sounds like ultimatums to me.
Ultimatum is only as good as you can back if you'll back it up. Anyway, I just wanted to bring that up that he misstated that.
Okay.
Runkle talked about it earlier.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chime in with that shit anytime you got something that Runkle said.
Mm-hmm.
The provinces and territories' capacity to handle the situation must be considered insufficient or must show gaps. And third, we must conclude that the situation cannot be handled adequately under any other Canadian law, including provincial law.
This could have been handled swiftly without anybody showing up at your fucking doorstep, you knob.
You can handle it by going, like, literally go out there, tell them you have 48 hours to elect 3 representatives with all of your demands and this and that and what you want to see changed, and we'll meet at the end of those 48 hours, right? We're going to meet at high noon on Friday, right? So then you go and you do that, and you fucking sit and you just talk. Go behind closed doors, you just talk, and you come out and do a press conference of how you feel on both sides and see what's going to go from there. That's all you need to do. That is totally within the provincial powers. And the fact that you're not doing that is a fucking problem.
Well, they'd be like, "Oh, they're too dangerous. You can't go like this and that."
That's why I said 3 people.
I have a helpful meme in case anyone's not understanding.
Yes, please. We're taking away your freedoms to keep you safe, eh? That's exactly what I said.
He looks like a fucking Scottish terrier. He's got that beta Chad look.
The beta Chad.
Yeah, because he cut his beard. Otherwise, he'd be Alpha Chad.
You have a beard bigger than your face, or it doesn't count.
Say again?
Said you gotta have a beard bigger than your face, or it doesn't count.
Oh. Anybody think he looks like Tim Allen whenever he's in that picture? Whenever he's getting ready to become the Santa Claus, he's like in the middle of transition. You know what I'm talking about? Like when he starts getting gray and the beard starts showing up.
Oh yeah.
He starts getting
and
fat.
he starts getting fat. Yeah.
He's like half fat with a little bit of gray in his beard, like half gray. Anyway, sorry about that.
Yeah, it's cool. We chill up in here.
Laws and territorial laws. Une fois l'urgence déclarée,
Once the emergency has been declared, the Emergencies Act allows the federal government to adopt rules or decrees in order to...
I'm gonna share this with one of you guys real quick so you can press play and pause. I need to make sure that these kids got food quick.
Yeah, share with Mike. I gotta bounce here in just a little bit. I gotta
Mike,
go
are
to work
you
tonight.
good?
Yeah, just hit play.
Okay, sounds good.
intervene. Our government respects Canadians' rights and freedoms as protected under the Charter. It is our intention to use only the necessary, reasonable and measured powers in order to resolve this crisis quickly and safely.
We'll only beat you as hard
also
as we have
contains
to.
a number of significant limits, checks,
Yeah,
and
good
safeguards,
translation. I
as
just popped it
required
in
by
the
Act
private.
earlier today.
Yeah.
And on occasion, over the past week, the Prime Minister and members of Cabinet have consulted with premiers and members of their respective governments. Having now declared a public order emergency, we will table the declaration in Parliament as required within 7 days. In the coming days, a parliamentary committee will be struck to provide oversight while the emergency is in effect.
Wait,
The
what?
declaration only lasts for 30 days unless renewed. However,
Unless
we can,
renewed.
and sincerely hope to, revoke the emergency much sooner. Parliament also has the ability to revoke the declaration of the emergency as set out clearly in the Act. Once an emergency is declared, the Emergencies Act permits
I'm going to
the
laugh
federal
if Parliament
to make
revokes it.
necessary orders or regulations
going
to
to.
deal with the emergency. The Prime Minister gave the broad outline
'Cause
of these
it's not
in his
a,
remarks.
right?
There are 6
All you
specific
need is
measures
not
we
a.
feel are needed to bring this situation under control. First, the regulation and prohibition of public assemblies that lead to a breach of peace and go beyond lawful protest. What we are seeing in Ottawa And what we are seeing at the Ambassador Bridge are
The
not
bouncy
lawful
castles.
protests.
It's too much.
Mike,
Second,
have you got that
designating
link?
and securing places
Oh, what
where
timestamp are
blockades
you at?
are to be prohibited.
I got
This
you.
could include borders, approaches to borders, and other critical
30
infrastructures.
or minus
or
30. Oh.
Ottawa.
So you can't protest, but what we're going to do
Directing
is put you
persons
in
to
a little
render
box for
essential
you to
services
protest
to
over there
relieve
in the corner
impacts
where
of
nobody
blockades
can
on
see or
Canada's
hear.
economy.
You don't
And
cause
this
any
could include
problems.
tow trucks and
Okay.
their drivers.
Yep.
for
You can
compensation,
protest,
of
but
course.
right where we tell you to, and
can
how we tell you
protest
to.
this
Authorizing
box
or
over
directing
here.
financial institutions to render essential
Let me
services
try and-
to relieve the impact of
You're
blockades.
totally free to
including,
protest. No, not like
as we have
that.
heard from the Deputy Prime Minister, regulating and prohibiting the use of property to fund or support the blockades.
Excellent.
Measures enabling the RCMP to enforce municipal bylaws and provincial
Okay.
offenses.
I'm gonna go check and
where
see if these
required.
kids got some.
And finally, the
supper.
imposition of fines.
Okay,
and
can you kill yours so it
imprisonment
stops
for prevention
talking?
Of any more
Yes.
order.
There you go.
Hey, I'm gonna step out, Mike.
and then
You
I
got
can-
the. I'm actually gonna run.
Oh, okay.
I'll be in
chat.
Mike, are you good being left alone, bro? Otherwise, I can.
I mean, how
try
long are
to-
you gone for? I'm happy to just like be on
Like-
your stream, but
Yeah, like 10 at the most, bro. 10 at the most.
oh, that's cool. I'm happy to just watch this and talk shit about it.
Okay, excellent. Okay. Is this yours that's up right now?
Yep.
The Prime Minister gave the broad outline of these in his
Woo.
remarks. There are 6 specific measures we feel are needed to
He
bring the
watches as
situation
fast
under
as he
control.
types.
First, the regulation and prohibition
Yep, we're
of
watching
protests
this
and
double
breach of peace
speed
and go
because
beyond
I can
lawful
only
protests.
stand so
What
much
we are
of this
seeing in
beta
Ottawa
in a
and
day,
what we are seeing at the Ambassador Bridge are not
and they
lawful
just gotta
protests.
deal with it.
Second, designating and securing places where blockades are to be
I'm
prohibited.
gonna run. I'll
This
see you
could
guys later.
include borders, approaches to borders, and
Have a good one,
other
guys. I'll see you
critical
later.
infrastructures.
All right,
for
have a good one.
Ottawa. Directing persons to render essential services to relieve impacts of blockades on Canada's
All right.
economy.
Sorry about that. Made him some
And this could
food.
include tow trucks and their drivers for compensation, of course.
He just said he was going to conscript tow drivers because they wouldn't do it voluntarily. Like,
Oh, yeah,
let's be
dude.
clear that the government of Canada is talking about conscripting Canadian citizens into forced labor.
And this is another thing
Authorizing
that's
or
really
directing
stupid. You
financial
want to give it a
institutions
pause?
to render essential.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were stepping out. Yes, go for it.
Yeah, I did. I got them food already, and they're all set now.
Oh, dang, you're like Superman on that. Okay,
Yeah,
go for it,
I'm
Jimmy.
the Flash. Did you not know? No.
I mean,
they
today I
got their
learned.
food. They got their food, so it's all set. We're good. So this big thing with the tow truck drivers, right? This
sir.
is going to take hours.
Did you
upon
want to take over
hours
streaming
upon,
then?
Upon days.
Sorry if you're back.
Yeah, I can. Let's go there. Yeah, perfect. Okay. So this is gonna take days upon days to get all those trucks out of there, bro, and it's gonna take tons and tons of gas and money and manpower to do this.
The estimate that I saw on one of the videos was if truckers take moderate steps to stop their trucks from being moved, things like just empty the air tank, right? Nothing crazy. Literally just open the valve and walk away.
Yeah.
You would have to, for each truck, get under it and physically undo the brakes on every tire.
Oh my gosh.
Because
Each of the
trucks, when they
16
lose
wheels.
pressure, fail safe, and so the brakes engage.
What people don't realize is it's not just trucks; it's their whole trailer too. Like a lot of these people brought trailers with them.
Yes. And I don't know what they're telling them to go away for. Like, they're literally just telling them that they need to go starve. Like, they can't go back to a job because they're not legally allowed to work.
Yeah, they
And
can't
so-
work. That's why they're at your doorstep.
The ones they're threatening, they're saying, okay, 90% you can go back to work, and you need to let the 10% just starve. Fuck you. I don't think this is going to go down well with the truckers.
No, I haven't heard any updates, bro, but it's gonna get messy, guaranteed. Like, let me double check that I'm on there still. I get updates from these guys, like people that are on location. Oh yeah, I missed 10 freaking messages. See. Okay.
I mean, I'm not the only person who's using this declares war language. Like, this is now becoming the meme. Trudeau declares war on truckers.
Well, that's what he did. It's literally what he did. That
Right,
should
but
be the
it's
language
definitely
used
not
around
what he
this.
wants the story to be. Because that
Well-
sounds really dictatorish.
I mean, how do you do this without sounding dictatorish? He needs a pink sweater is all he needs, really.
Well, yeah, I mean, he needs, like, his suit jacket to be that tie color and the tie to be the suit jacket color.
Yep,
and he would have
yep,
gone
then he
away
can-
with it for his bad fashion sense.
Yeah, true. Very true. Yep. That's where he fucked up. Or he could have just worn the blackface.
I mean, he may as well have showed up to this meeting in blackface. It probably would have distracted everyone from the horrible things he was saying.
Yeah. Actually. All right, let's continue.
or regulation made under Section 19 of the Emergencies Act. Les décrets et règlements qui permettront de
Under the
He's
acts
gonna go
following
into French and repeat what he just said.
We'll be taking 30 minutes of questions starting in the foyer. Le Premier ministre et les ministres prendront 30 minutes de questions.
You want to be here for the questions? Otherwise, we can basically wrap up. There's some bangers that are asked, but like it's up to you.
Yeah, I was going to say, there might be some good Q&A. Give me 1 second to grab a drink and let's get into it.
Okay, sweet. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Please interact with this stuff because I mean voices matter, and whether you're a voice in the comments or a voice on the screen, it's all the same. Are you hiding any juice? I am hiding all the juice. Don't you know? Don't you know? Don't you know who I am? Don't you know what I can do? Rims. Here, I'll show you what I'll show you what I was reacting to.
I want a shirt that says, I'm not hiding any juice.
I am hiding the juice.
I gas the juice and then just have like a soda bottle.
I am the underground Jew railroad person. Let's continue on.
Now that this got really offensive.
How is that offensive? I didn't offend nobody. What are you talking about?
Hi, Prime Minister.
Juice is
A
delicious.
number of premiers today have come out and said that they don't want or need the federal government to exercise its emergency powers in their provinces. So I'm just wondering, how do you respond to the premiers who've come out today and said that?
I thank the premiers for having had the conversation with me this morning. It was extremely important to talk about what was happening right across the country. We have seen challenges across the country that are linked.
Doesn't he just look like a guy that doesn't want to be here anymore?
Well, he doesn't know what to do, right? Because the moment he like called them neo-Nazi white supremacists, even though there were like indigenous people making drum circles, he put himself in that corner, right? He couldn't back down.
Oh, hey, listen to this. Apparently, somebody's doing a promotion where you get a free oven for every 4-pack of juice you buy.
Do you
What a
find
sale.
gold teeth in some of the juice?
Well, that depends upon where you find the juice. Grim, you're terrible. All right, let's continue.
To what we are seeing here in Ottawa, what we're seeing at border crossings. But allow me to repeat what I said before. The measures brought in today are geographically specific and targeted only to where they are needed. These are not blanket powers across the country. These will
They
be
are for
tools
crowdsourcing.
that can be used where and when
Yep.
necessary. So
Like,
that
what is he
police
referring to
of
right now? I'm pretty sure it's
jurisdiction
blanket regardless of
dealing
what he's
with
talking about.
blockades or occupations have the tools necessary
Grim.
and can draw on
I don't know
RCMP
if I-
resources as necessary to keep Canadians safe, to restore confidence in the rule
There
of
you go,
law
Grim.
and
Is
in
that
our
what you wanted?
institutions, and to make sure that our economy.
Do you concentrate the juice in camps?
Oh, why would you need a camp for your juice?
To keep
Well, no, but you have to
safe,
concentrate them
to
somewhere.
restore confidence in the rule of
Well,
law.
they're already
and in our
unconcentrated, right? Like they used to
institutions,
be
and to make sure
oranges. Now they're
that our
juice.
economy continues.
But I think
to
concentrated
recover
juice
from
is really the
impacts
best.
of COVID-19 over the past 2 years.
I like
At
juice
least
with
one
pulp
other
in it.
premier said that invoking this act is like putting oil on a raging fire. Words along those lines.
Oh, this is a great question.
Oil on a raging fire. Words along those lines. Do you think you're inflaming the situation even more by invoking this?
My focus is on Canadians.
Oh, bro, it pisses me off. Yes or no, please.
I destroyed their lives, and I am now their master. They must obey me. Right?
Oh, it's such a simple question. A 5-year-old could answer that if he had done what this guy had done.
Along those lines. Do you think you're inflaming the situation even more by invoking this?
My focus is on Canadians.
Nothing to do with the question. Fuck this guy, bro. Fuck this guy.
Who've had a long 2 years.
Because of
Been
me.
through a pandemic, who've lost
He
loved
literally,
ones,
it's all his fault.
who've seen businesses
Yeah,
struggle,
people really got it rough.
Because of me.
jobs,
Because of
Because of me.
people.
and just want this to be over. They're exhausted.
My tyranny.
We're all
No, we don't want to
exhausted.
point
We're
any
all
fingers.
frustrated by the pandemic.
Because of me.
But those people who disagree with
With
the
me.
measures that governments put in place
That I
to
did.
keep Canadians safe, to ensure that we would make it through this pandemic better
That turned out to
than
be
many
highly
of our peer
ineffective.
countries. Those people have gone from
I
protesting,
mean, I think Grim has the best
and
prediction here.
disagreeing
If you could
with
pull
those
up the
measures,
comment.
Yes. So Grimm's Bar says he will inflame the truckers after concentrating them on the issue. Okay.
I believe he means concentrating.
Yeah, see, but I see what he typed. Not what he meant.
Those cone traders?
Thanks for playing, Grim. Hopefully you'll get it next time.
to limiting and blocking the freedoms of their fellow citizens, hurting jobs, hurting lives and livelihoods,
Like I did. Like I did.
endangering public safety, and weakening our country, not just right now, but
Like I did.
for times to come in the eyes of our most important trading partners.
Like I did. Just now.
I actually thought you were doing I forgot you were doing this little bit with the like I did when you first started up again here. And I'm like, wait, what?
You're like, Trudeau isn't normally dishonest.
These illegal blockades are hurting Canadians, and they need to stop. Every step of the way, we have been there to support the police of jurisdiction. We've been there with tools and resources to help end these blockades. But it is clear that there are more tools necessary, and that is why we are moving forward with time-limited, geographically specific, extremely bound.
Let's play Who Wants to Be a Jailionaire. Yeah, let's vote him into jail. Can we do that? Is that a possibility?
I mean, vote for prosecutions.
Interesting.
Bounded measures and additional powers that will allow us to get through these blockades and occupation and get back to the business of rebuilding our lives and our country.
Nope.
After
Fuck
this
you. Hold the
pandemic.
line, Hong Kong.
Next question.
Bonjour, Monsieur Trudeau, Marc Chabot.
Hello, Mr. Trudeau. This is Radio-Canada. As we were saying, obviously some certain criteria will have to be met, but certain premiers have already spoken out against these measures. Would you be prepared to go forward to move forward in provinces who do not agree with the application of this act? Answer: in conversations that we're having across the country, as well as with premiers and as well as with police services, we are working on managing various situations across the country, and those.
Was this recently, Grim?
Yeah.
Oh, you know about this? What the hell is this?
They saw the headline come out. I know nothing about it. It's on Timcast title, but that's the extent to my knowledge.
Okay. Yeah, Grim, as that comes out, keep us posted, please. Yikes.
Conversations will continue. The Emergencies Act is there to provide us with additional tools and provide additional tools to the police services that are on site in order to manage situations as they emerge. It's not
Grim didn't show himself out on his way out. Poor form. You can follow Grim at Grim's Bar here on YouTube or over on TikTok. He makes some pretty awesome clips too, and he does gaming and stuff as well. Yeah. Go check him out. It's cool.
Automatically an intervention by the federal police or a direct intervention by the federal government. We're here to provide more tools, including additional authorities to whichever police it has jurisdiction and is there. It's quite possible, and we even hope, that the tools we have provided to police services across the country will not have to be resorted to. Certainly not for very long. Ideally, if these premiers who say that they have the situation in hand will continue to be able to do so. But on a national level, we have reached criteria forcing us to act, to provide more tools to.
There is nothing forcing you down this path except your own ambitions.
What he means is he's wildly unpopular. He doesn't know how to handle that, so he's going to try and beat them into compliance. This is not what I meant when I said you occasionally need to use force. Hitting peaceful people who are just sitting there disagreeing with you is a bad use of force.
See, Justin is the unliked owner of the dog that already hates him. And the dog, just needs a new home. But he's like, no, I got this dog. And
I mean, he's definitely one of the people that if I found out the dog killed him, I wouldn't blame the dog.
Well, you got to figure that mindset that he's using here carries over to his personal life. He is not the way he presents himself.
I mean, it's like when that guy who made the chicken cockfight got stabbed by a chicken with a knife strapped to its leg. I was just like, well, that's the epitome of deserve.
Oh damn, bro! I love the Spurs. It's cool as shit. Cockfighting is excellent.
Just the tip.
Those who maintain order in our country.
That's sword fighting.
All Canadians across the country. Question: you're saying that it's necessary. It's been through. We're in the third week of these protests in Ottawa now. Why did you not do this 2 weeks ago? Don't you think that you failed in your leadership responsibilities in moving forward on this earlier? Answer: some people will say that we moved too quickly. Other people will say, no, we should have acted weeks ago. The reality is this: the Emergencies Act is not something to take lightly.
No shit.
It's not the first thing you turn to, nor the.
I'll bring a cock to any occasion, Grim's Bar. You just let me know. Pull this up quick here. I don't have much of a choice.
We were there to provide additional resources from the very beginning to Ottawa's local police service and elsewhere. We were there to support them in the work that they were doing. And in the last few days, during meetings I had with ministers, with our partners.
Doesn't he look like a discount, like a great value Tucker Carlson?
I mean, I think the problem is Tucker can pull off a bow tie, and this guy just can't.
Partners, with officials, it became clear that we required additional tools. And those tools, limited, responsible, and reasonable, are what we will be using through the Emergencies Act. Next question.
That the RCMP now have the ability to enforce provincial and municipal laws. Does that mean that they'll be the lead police force agency here in Ottawa? And when can we expect more police officers from the RCMP to work with the City of Ottawa? Because they've been asking for that for a substantial period of time.
As I said, the invocation of the Emergencies Act gives more powers to the police.
To everything. And it infects other acts. That's the big thing about this. It's like, this act is so bad that it toxifies other acts and turns them into what they can use to their advantage.
I mean, they had to get rid of the War Powers Act after Trudeau's father abused it, and I'm sure they'll get rid of this after Trudeau abused it.
It's the same act.
It was touched up a little bit.
Sure, well, so they could push it through again.
It is better than it used to be. Now, I'm not saying it's good, but...
Does this have anything about internment in it?
Yeah, that's some of the things they had to remove.
Police of jurisdiction. It does not make the RCMP automatically police of jurisdiction anywhere across the country. As we have been, we will ensure that the RCMP continues to work to support local police of jurisdiction, and that's what we have been doing in Ottawa. But I think on this question, I'm happy to turn to Minister Mendicino, who can give further information on the situation in Ottawa. Marco?
Yeah, thanks very much, Prime Minister. From the very beginning of the illegal blockades, the federal government has been working closely with.
See, this guy's not used to the doublespeak. He has to think.
Illegal blockades. We're not taking away your right
blockades.
to protest. We're just reclassifying it. Yeah, okay.
Local law enforcement, where they are the police of jurisdiction, including here in Ottawa. I would point out that we've sent 3 installments of reinforcements to ensure that that Ottawa Police Service has the support that they need.
Arresting anyone and everyone they can. Whoever they can impose this on, they will.
I was just following orders is not an excuse.
Yep, you are so fucked, Jen. You are on a list. Make no mistake. When people ask for your badge number and shit on live streams or whatever, wherever you're caught up.
Oh, it's not just that. I mean, you know where this is going, right? Like, when the People's Movement seizes power, we're going to go to the phone companies, take their executives, and say, you share the database with us, or we kill your entire family instead of just you. Like, that's how these movements end up. It's not going to a better place. It's just going to wild shit. Right? Like, this is why you don't go down the Civil War road. It's not that the other side is going to be magically better. It's just these guys are going to get hung for this because people are too upset to do anything else.
I wouldn't mind a little bit of a takeover. I mean, what the hell is wrong with that? Incursion never hurt anybody. Biden said so himself.
I mean, they just incited an actual issue, right? Like, they declared war on the people, and a lot of otherwise reasonable people are going to take it that way.
Do you think if it was reported different that it would have been saved, or do you think like they just fucked up royally here and there's nothing they could do to make this sound good?
There is nothing you can do to make using war powers against peaceful demonstrators sound good. Especially when the previous year you let violent movements go free, right? Because there's context. We also have 2021 to think about. They let arsonists, they let like attacks on the public. They didn't use any of these powers then. They didn't shut down the funding from GoFundMe for the bail funds for actual arsonists burning down the community. Right? They let that go ahead. It's only when the truckers sit there peacefully and disrupt Trudeau's pocketbook that the war powers come out. And so there's no way to make that set of facts sound good. There is no way to get up there and say, we shut down the economy for 2 years. We're going to keep mandating you inject your children, literally like growing people, with an experimental drug. And what you serfs need to do is shut the hell up and get back to work. Right? There is no way to make that message sound good. This was the best that it ever could have sounded.
And it's absolute shit.
But I think, as we've seen, without question,
I
there have
mean,
been
as
many,
the
many
Marines say, I
challenges,
may eat crayons,
on the
but I'm
ground
not
for
that
restoring
dumb.
public order on the streets, and one really has to look at the situation on Wellington Street over the past number of weekends. I think it's difficult to overstate the impact of those scenes, the conduct that has.
What conduct? They're parking up big trucks and saying beep, 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 beep.
Right, exactly. The conduct is that they're not obeying.
They're literally guilty of wrongthink in their eyes.
I mean, they're mad about that thing on the bridge, though. Like, that probably did fuck up the economy. And I'm sure that, 50,000 truckers are participating? Well, there's only 250,000 to 500,000 truckers in Canada. So you figure 10 to 20% of them are just sitting on their ass right now. And that's probably really fucked up the economy there.
Good.
Yeah, I mean, trucking is a profession where 10% of them going missing is like, you know, something the country can tolerate. And that's why they're mad.
Dude, listen to this, though. It's like, okay, they fucked over these people first. Completely.
Grim raises an interesting point.
Oh, what does Grim have to say? Let me bring it up for all to see. Oh, we have a cool frog. Welcome.
You guys are still talking about this? Oh, hello.
Yes, sir. Impacted the scenes, not impacted the actions. Yeah, because there were no impactful actions other than like inspiring people to see what they've been blinded to for all these years. They're living in a movie where they are the saviors. Yes, absolutely. 100%. Base Grim. That's unbreaded shit, man.
Well, to Grim's point about he says the truckers don't go on strike. What happens when the government seizes the trucks, the accounts, and puts these people out of business? Right? Like, if you just killed 10, 20% of the trucking companies, how does your country keep functioning? Like, in the basic still eat kind of sense.
Well, you stock up as the truckers have advised people to do.
I mean, a general trucker strike makes me really glad I live in part of the state with farms.
Or a coast.
Yeah, like, this is a good time to know your neighbors and some local farmers.
Not a bad idea. Yeah.
I mean, that is 100% my advice just in general. Get to know your neighbors and some local farmers. That applies to other situations as well.
Well, just stock up. Like, you're going to be in trouble here real quick. Get some MREs if you have to.
Yeah, I straight up have a whole month of food.
Nice.
It's easy when you're just one person, so like if you're a family and you haven't gone that far, completely understand.
There's a hoarder.
But no, when it's just one guy, it's easy to like have enough freeze-dried food for a month. But
it's different when you're a family. Like some of these people, they don't have a choice. It's like if we want to keep afloat, if we want to keep our kids safe, I need to get this Fauci ouchie, or otherwise we're
I mean,
fucked.
Bevo Fry said what's really about today on live stream. Like, so take his case as sort of, I guess, the normal example, right? He's a little more into it than most people. But he's just some lawyer. Like, before all of this, he had very mild opinions. he's still the most mild of all of them. And yet there was a moment where he looked at the camera, he said, my children are going to know freedom, right? And so if that guy is at that point, then this is not a fight they want. Because any reasonable person being at the point where it's just like, this is my kids or you, that's a bad place to put people in, right? They're going to hurt you.
And look at how it's come to this. Look at how it's come to the average person thinking such a thing. It's like, how did we get here? Is the big question we need to ask, and look at who's responsible. Like, how did it come to this?
Unfolded by those who are participating in illegal blockades. It is not just an inconvenience. It is not simply a matter of a trivial interruption. We've seen intimidation, harassment, and expressions of hate. And at times, the scenes on the streets of Wellington have seemed completely lawless. And that is one of the reasons why we've had to take the very careful and deliberate step of introducing the Emergencies Act today and the declaration and the specific powers, which again are very targeted, they're very proportionate, and they're time limited, so that there can be greater agility between the RCMP, who will work seamlessly with local law enforcement, including in Ottawa, to restore order. I would also say that while we have seen progress, measures through the declaration are also necessary. We want to be certain that local law enforcement has the concrete tools that they need. For example, tow trucks, which have been very hard to come by. In addition to that, the kind of jersey barriers.
Yeah, no tow truck driver wants to be involved with this.
Well, they tried to conscript them, and they're just like, yeah, we got COVID.
I mean, they literally declared the war power so they could conscript them, and I think they're going to find out they still aren't going to do it.
Yep. Like, oh damn, I would, but I.
Well, because a year from now, when the war powers are gone, but the truckers still hate the tow people, like, that doesn't go away. They're not going to forget about that. These are people that have decades-long relationships within, like, the logistics community, right? They don't give two shits about Trudeau.
You just told people like the thing.
I mean, like, I assume like any profession, right? There are people that do that profession, and they work with other related professions. Like, there's tool makers and cabinet makers and like all kinds of weird things in carpentry.
Yeah.
And traffic can move very efficiently. And in addition to that, when it comes to the relationship between the RCMP and local law enforcement and provincial enforcement, the provision that is within the declaration will allow the RCMP to be more efficiently assigned to those areas to uphold the law, be they municipal laws, provincial laws, or indeed
I had myself muted for whatever reason. Look at the Department of Homeland Security is what I was telling Frogman. Look at how people get power and just do not let it go.
I mean, their vision that they're going to conscript tow trucks to be their servants, to put the other serfs back in their place, is one of the most interesting things I've seen from government.
We'll see what happens with that. I am curious where that's going to go. I bet the truckers are, or I bet the tow truckers are going to be on the same side as the semi-truckers.
You'd almost think
the
so.
designated zones, which will be prohibited from assembly because they may cause a breach of peace or may interrupt our critical infrastructure through trade. So when you look at the suite of the measures that we put into place today, and we've certainly put a lot of thought into that, our view is that they are necessary and they will assist us in dealing with the illegal blockades and bringing them to a peaceful and expeditious resolution.
As my follow-up, Mr. Trudeau, Mr. Mendocino just mentioned that when you look out on Wellington Street here, you see lawless scenes. Why do you have any faith that the Ottawa Police, after 3 weeks now, is going to be able to turn things around and restore law and order in this area?
In regards to the Ottawa Police, we have been working closely, not just the RCMP, but the OPP, to ensure that there is a coordinated approach on that. But in terms of confidence in the police, I think we could do worse than turn to our Minister of Emergency Preparedness, Bill Blair, to respond to that. Bill.
Yeah, thank you very much, Prime Minister, and good afternoon, everyone.
Thank you so much, Prime Minister.
The Ontario
Thank
Ottawa
you.
Police Service remains the police of jurisdiction in the City of Ottawa. But the police services right across Canada and certainly in Ontario have been coming together. And they recently announced on Friday the formation of an integrated command structure for managing this event. And that really brings the resources and the capacities of the OPP and the RCMP to the assistance of the Ottawa Police. We've also had conversations with other police agencies across Ontario, and they recognize the situation here and the importance of ensuring that there are adequate resources. But it's not simply an issue of resources, but also of authorities. And we have been working from the very outset with the municipality and with the province in order to ensure that our police services here in Ottawa and right across Canada have the authorities they need and the resources they need to do the important job. Now, as I said,
What the hell is so important about keeping your people down? Do they not see it? Like, is this guy just as dumb as Justin? Grim had something to say here. Grim says, government, a group of people who rob you and want you to thank them for it. Yep. Freaking shaking my motherfucking head, bro.
yesterday, policing is a very important institution in our society. We need the police to do their job of upholding our laws, to maintain
if you didn't
the rule
have
of
the
law,
police,
and
you'd
to
be
maintain public
fucked.
order and safety in our communities. And we have a responsibility to make sure that they have the resources and the tools that they need to do that job. They have our support. And as that support grows in the City of Ottawa, I have confidence that they'll be able to restore order with the support that we're providing.
Next question.
Hi, Prime Minister. Stephanie Taylor with the Canadian Press. You emphasized we're not calling in the military to deal with the situation, but all options, as you said last week, are on the table. So what would it take for you to bring the military into this situation? What would the criteria be, and what would it take for you to make that decision?
Literally a good night's sleep
I'm not
on
going to
it.
engage in hypotheticals right now. I think what is most important is that
He'd call him
Canadians
military as soon as he was
lives
released.
back,
Yep,
their communities back, their neighborhoods back, and can once again rely on their jobs and the trade and the supply chains that are supporting them and putting food on their tables. The reality is the measures that we put forward today, which have been carefully thought through,
No, they haven't.
the tools
You're an
to
idiot.
law enforcement
An idiot.
to be able to move.
You're an idiot.
I'm an idiot.
Stronger and clearer ways against these illegal protests, these illegal occupations and blockades that are hurting Canadians. We will continue to monitor, and we will continue to do the things necessary to keep Canadians safe.
You know, government, reared its ugly head back in the day. It was always something to be watched and not something to watch you. And now surveillance is a key part of safety for you and yours.
But like I said, this Emergencies Act in no way brings in the military as a solution against Canadians. We are empowering law enforcement. I think that's what Canadians want to see.
Over the weekend, Minister Blair expressed that he was a little baffled by the lack of law enforcement he saw. I want to know what you think. Do you agree with him that it is a little baffling the Ottawa police are not enforcing more of the laws? What do you make of the policing you have seen to date on Wellington Street and elsewhere in Ottawa?
I think there is a high level of frustration amongst residents of Ottawa that this situation has gone on as long as it has. Certainly the frustration people feel in Ottawa has been echoed across the country and indeed around the world. and it is important that
It's your fucking fault. You're the reason they're frustrated. In your frickin' ski hill nose.
the police of jurisdiction, working with the OPP and the RCMP, are able to put an end to these illegal protests.
Not illegal, kiss my ass.
The specific and limited measures that we are putting forward today as part of the Emergencies Act will give them further tools that in their coordinated response between the Ottawa Police Services, the OPP and the RCMP working together should be able to
Nothing's illegal until
respond to these concerns
somebody
by
says
citizens
it
of Ottawa
is.
who want their cities back.
We'll take one last
Well,
question.
laws are only as strong as their ability to
Prime
be
Minister Ryan
enforced.
National Post.
Right.
Over the weekend, Mayor Jim Watson here in Ottawa made a deal with protest organizers to move more trucks onto Wellington Street and out of residential areas. I'm wondering if you can give me any reaction to that deal.
I know that the City of Ottawa, its police services and its elected officials have been pursuing an end to these blockades. This has gone on far too long. It is no longer a lawful protest at a disagreement over government policy. It is now an illegal occupation. It is time for people.
It's no longer
to go
legal
home.
protest
Measures
because
that
it's
we put
starting to
forward
impact
today
him and he
will
doesn't
be
like it.
additional.
Well, it's like, yeah, you got the freedom to protest. Go ahead. And all of a sudden he's like, no,
That's every
wait.
dictator ever, right? Like, yeah, I guarantee the freedom of speech, but not your freedom after. Okay, fascist.
Additional tools, law enforcement at all levels, to be able to secure an end to these blockades.
You're announcing today rules around preventing banks from dealing with these illegal blockades. The City of Ottawa has dealt with these legal blockades. Don't you find that problematic that they have cut a deal to put more trucks directly in front of Parliament Hill?
We are working in a concerted way on measures that will hopefully restore order to the City of Ottawa and allow residents to get back to their lives. The measures that we put forward today around empowering banks to follow up and to ensure that funds are not used for illegal activities such as blockades will be significantly helpful.
This is just choking up. All they're doing is trying to restrict them any way they can. They're still going to get the money through. There's still Venmo, Cash App, all that stuff. Like, you have.
I mean, they declared war. Expect anyone who's a veteran to understand implications of that and just go ahead and ignore them from now on, right? Like, if you're in a conflict, don't respect their authority over you. Welcome.
And that's going to be the consensus. What am I getting echo here for? Oh, okay.
In reducing the size and impact of these blockades.
Merci. On va maintenant tourner au téléphone.
Thank you. We will now move to the telephone. Operator, go ahead.
Please press star 1 at this time if you have a question. S'il vous plaît, appuyez sur étoile 1 maintenant pour poser Raymond Fillon, TV.
The first question is from TVA. Raymond Fillon, please go ahead. Thank you. Prime Minister, when will the special powers under the Emergencies Act come into effect for police officers that you've announced today? Answer. The impact of this declaration is immediate. We will be developing specific proposals and policies in the coming hours, the coming days, that will have specific impacts. But I will ask the Minister of Justice to tell you more.
Merci, Monsieur.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Thank you, Mr. Fillon. We will be tabling orders in council under the Act. Once these measures have been announced, they become effective immediately.
So basically, everything is already in effect that they've announced as soon as they announce it.
And then there will be parliamentary review, but the orders and decrees come into effect immediately. Thank you. Question. Mr. Trudeau, several people reproached you for your tone towards the protesters over the last couple of weeks. They said you threw oil on the flames. Do you feel any responsibility for the scope that these protests have reached?
Of course he doesn't.
Answer. What we've seen and what we are now seeing across Canada is that, of course, people are tired, frustrated, sick of the pandemic, tired of public health measures. They want it to be over. Everyone agrees on that. But what we have also seen is that Canadians across the country were there for each other.
Jimmy,
Yes.
what I meant by quote
We're there
unquote good hitting is when out of control dogs like Trudeau won't stop biting, drive your truck on that bridge, park, walk out, pop the air compressor, and just leave it sitting there. Right? Like, make him actually go through it and clear off the bridge. Use force against his threat of force.
Yeah. I mean, I think the hit, though, is the supply chain, right? Not necessarily just the bridge alone. Like, it's what the bridge is causing.
Right, but like physically block the bridge and disable your truck on it to show that, like, no, physical aggression will be met in kind.
I'm sure we will hash that out again. I'm sure we will.
To help one another.
I meant it more in the case of people like
To
Trudeau
follow
than
public
actual
health
dogs.
guidelines.
Right?
Yeah,
Trudeau will get the point if you do
To
something like
Get
that.
vaccinated at a higher rate than most in most of our peer countries across the
He
world.
better. He's more intelligent than Canelo.
We have shown as a country that people continue to be there for one another. Now, people who are seeing their lives disrupted by these blockades here in Ottawa, of seeing people suffering because borders are being blockaded that are providing people that are preventing people from doing their jobs and are curtailing our supply chains. Those people are angry and even sicker of that. They want us to act to restore order in our country, to show that we are a country of rule of law. Well, yes, we do in this country encourage peaceful protests.
No, you don't. This is a peaceful protest. You lying sack of shit. The duplicitous nature, man, it just freaking eats at you after a while. I don't know how people can be in government.
We encourage people to openly and loudly express their opinions, but we do not accept people who come and curtail other people's freedoms, their fellow citizens' freedoms, and break the laws and use illegal means to protest.
The next question is from La prochaine question est de Tonda McCharles, Toronto Star. Please go ahead. À vous la parole.
Thank you. Prime Minister, I didn't hear an answer to the question Mac asked about reinforcements from the RCMP to the City of Ottawa. And if you can answer that, great. But how specifically do you justify giving even more powers to police in Ottawa when many residents and policing experts say the law enforcement here has not used the power they already have under existing laws, that this is a failure of policing leadership, not the need for more power?
There will be time later to reflect on all the lessons that can be learned from this situation. Right now, we are ensuring that local police of jurisdiction have both the legal authorities that they need to do their jobs, but also the extra resources. We have delivered not just RCMP officers, as the OPP has delivered OPP officers to support the City of Ottawa, but we've also provided integrated planning and coordination task force to ensure that we are able to actually see an end to this occupation of Ottawa.
Following up?
Good Lord, dude.
Yes, I'd like you to.
The only
if you
occupation
could,
is him and his
You mentioned,
crumbs.
as did Minister Freeland, the reputational damage to the country that you feel the border protests have had and the impact on Canada's, I guess, reputation as a reliable trading partner. But can you speak a little bit more about just what was the tipping point for you in all of this? Was it really the fact that the White House has been weighing in and burning up the phone lines all weekend to all your ministers? Really, why have you moved to do this?
For me,
All right, Grim,
the
we've got mod.
conversations I had with our Windsor MP, Eric Kosmerchik, who was talking about the impact of the disruption of the Ambassador Bridge almost as soon as it started happening. The impact on workers in the auto sector in the Windsor area and up the supply chain through southern Ontario. The direct impact hurting exactly the people that these convoy protesters are purporting to represent. Regular Canadians are hurting in their jobs, in our economic recovery.
These are regular Canadians, you fuck.
It's so disgusting for him to try and pretend he represents them after destroying regular Canadians' lives for 2 years. Fucking gross.
Oh my gosh, dude. Like, how did this dictator get in office? How?
In their freedoms to travel, to see friends and loved ones on the other side of the border, because of illegal protests and barricades. We have been there to support local police jurisdiction, and we are now putting forward fresh tools to do that. In terms of the reputational damage, in my conversations with fellow leaders around the world on the situation in Ukraine and others, it has been clear that this is something that democracies around the world are concerned with. Countries that did well during the pandemic, high vaccination rates and strong public health measures, are still seeing backlashes against those measures.
Grim had an awesome message here. How dare these people shut down the economy? Only a weekend shut them down. The economy. What? Okay. I guess I read that different when I was down. Grim, damn it. Make yourself make sense.
There are multiple families who were divided for almost a year on the border between BC and Washington.
Damn.
Anything he's accusing the truckers of, he's done 1,000 times worse. To see him try and pretend to care about these issues after utterly disregarding them as he destroyed people's lives for 2 years is disgusting.
He deserves a bullet. Grim says, did he just say the ability of people to travel across fucking borders? If I recall, people couldn't see their fucking fellow numbers dying in a hospital.
Yeah, there's tons of stories like that. Missed childbirths, couldn't see relatives dying, all kinds of things.
Did they have the same Cuomo shit where, like, they were putting COVID patients in hospitals? Or in old folks' homes, I mean? Okay.
Measures and frustration by people who are tired of this pandemic and the impact of social media and illicit funding of concerted activities designed to destabilize a country that has the highest vaccination rate of many of our peer countries, Canada, around an issue that is not dividing Canadians. Canadians are united in having been there for each other through this pandemic, and they're even united in being sick and tired of this pandemic. But the way to get through it is not to shut down our economy and hurt our neighbors. And that's something that people understand around the world. And with this measure here today, show
obey me.
The way to get through it. The way to get through it is not to shut down. He just said
He's
the way
right
to
about
get through
all
it
of
is
that.
not to shut down.
Canadians are united. Canadians are sick and tired of this. The way to get through it is not to shut down. That's why he's failing.
He doesn't see what's in his own answers to this stuff.
Showing that Canada remains a country of
He
the rule of law.
knows. That's why he's
It will
blinking
protect its
so
critical
much. That's why he looks like he's vaguely
jobs,
sick.
that
That's why
deliver
his body language, he
delivers
keeps his
goods,
hands
services,
together,
not
because
just
he's
Canadians, but
comforting
around the world.
himself as much as anyone.
Operator, next question, please.
The next question is from, la prochaine question est de Boris Proulx, Le Devoir.
Like, does this look like a guy who's happy about what's
What proof do you
happening?
have that provincial capacities are not sufficient to deal with this
Yeah,
situation? Answer.
perhaps.
I'm very pleased to
I'd
give the
say.
floor to Minister Lametti to answer that question. Minister Lametti. Thank you for the question, Boris. Obviously, the answer can be found across Canada. And the answer can also be found in the measures we're going to be taking. Of course, we're going to support police services across the country and provide them resources that they need. But I would direct your attention to measures announced by the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance today. It's the ability to block the use of private property, such as trucks, which, and if you look at the flags that you're seeing across Wellington Street, you can see several different flags with Canadian, Albertan, Quebec flags. These trucks are registered across Canada. And I thank Mr. Ford for having taken measures in Ontario. But what we've done today will allow us either to do something here in Ottawa or at the borders or elsewhere, or through our financial services in Canada.
Trudeau
It will
is
help us
extremely
unblock
nervous.
the streets. How? Because this applies across Canada. And under such measures, under such an act, we can do so. We cannot do so through provincial legislation. Follow-up question? Yes. Minister, what if a province does not want you to apply these measures in their province? Can they ask to be excluded from them? Answer, no, under the Act. And in fact, the Act was drafted by Mr. Mulroney's Conservatives in 1988. We have the duty to consult provinces, which we did. Of course, we will continue.
Let's get another thing here. It's a long one.
So he just pointed fingers at somebody else.
This guy?
Yeah.
He basically just said that you can't get out of this. If he goes ahead and gives the truckers what they want, then the French province will want their independence. So they're trying to cut the French off from succeeding, more or less. Oh, interesting. I didn't know there was a little bit of a dichotomy going on there.
To collaborate with provinces, which we have done and we will continue to do. But once a national emergency has been declared, these measures apply across the whole country. One last question on the telephone. Just for a quick follow-up.
After this question's answered, we're gonna split here.
Obviously, these rules apply across Canada. But the tools that we are offering, the measures we will use will not be applied across the entire country. They will only be applied where they are truly necessary by working with local jurisdictions. So even though theoretically, yes, the impact, since it is a federal act, would apply across the whole country, it will only have a concrete impact where it is truly needed.
But you can't get out of it.
Everywhere in Canada, of course. Operator.
The next question is from, la dernière question est de Marie.
Okay. Let's wrap up here. I think that's about enough. Grim says, let's see here. Well, first you said it would be choice if the provinces did not require registrations and insurance to drive. Yeah, that'd be excellent. Oh no, wait. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, I see. What the guy on the screen just said was that the federal government will not respect provincial law. Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me. It helps to have people to bounce off of.
A pleasure as always.
As usual, Mike is Mike, and he is just here. And very much appreciated. And Frogman, would you like to show yourself out?
Again, Linktree/Bullfrog. If I get enough rest here within the next few hours, I will be live tonight at midnight. I'm sure Jimmy will be here with us, as well as a few others. Could be an interesting conversation tonight. Grim's asking you to play the quick clip from Anatomy of the State.
Yeah, do you want to post that in general or something so I can just have that kinky linky? 6:50 to 8:30. Yeah. I will step away for that though, because I do need to use the lavatory. The lavatory. Yeah, let's see. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, get that pulled up. Get Trudeau's stupid ass off of there.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Fuck that guy, indeed. Shit, fuck that guy. Okay. Well, actually, I guess I do have to stick around for it. So you said 6:50 to 8:30. Yeah, I got it, bro.
So, just to keep in mind before you go too far on this or whatever, the gist of everything is to remember exactly who hired all these people to do the stuff that they're actually doing, and that is the World Economic Forum. You don't understand what the heck that is? Do some research and find out. It's nothing
Just
cute.
look at the people who are in it, and you'll kind of start to see how things are run, little by little.
So yeah, exactly, little by little. And that's what they're doing. They're working slowly, because if they eradicate the population slow enough, people won't see it happening.
Okay, so let's whip this shit.
Production is the natural path for man, the means for his survival and prosperity on this earth. It should be equally clear that the coercive, exploitive means is contrary to natural law. It is parasitic, for instead of adding to production, it subtracts from it. The political means siphons production off to a parasitic and destructive individual or group, and this siphoning not only subtracts from the number producing, but also lowers the producer's incentive to produce beyond his own subsistence. In the long run, the robber destroys his own subsistence by dwindling or eliminating the source of his own supply. But not only that, even in the short run, the predator is acting contrary to his own true nature as a man. We are now in a position to answer more fully the question, what is the state? The state, in the words of Oppenheimer, is the organization of the political means. It is the systemization of the predatory process over a given territory, for crime at best is sporadic and uncertain. The parasitism is ephemeral, and the coercive parasitic lifeline may be cut off at any time by the resistance of the victims. The state provides a legal, orderly, systematic channel for the predation of private property. It renders certain, secure, and relatively peaceful the lifeline of the parasitic caste in society. Albert J. Nock wrote vividly that the state claims and exercises the...
It's very interesting. Yeah, you can kind of see, like, you can imagine who it's pointing to when it's saying the parasitic. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. When they say the parasitic people inside the system, but yeah, let me just wrap up saying I am your lovely host, Jimmy YouTube. You can find me here on YouTube at Jimmy YouTube, or you can find me over on TikTok, Odyssey, and Rumble, all at the Atlas Pass. Thank you so much for joining us, and see you again soon. Say bye, everyone. Night, Graham.